I didn't take it off mute. All right. So I said, "What's up, Dadiada and Jen? I hope everybody's doing all right." I just seen that. Mm. So here's another dad hack. My son don't like these. They like these little fruit things. And in Czech Republic, they gonna sell for like 50 cents a piece. So I drink them. I think it's a good deal. It definitely has some added sugar, but I like it. I will eat baby food. I'll eat baby food. I don't have a problem with it. I told my dad that's a good hack. You know what I did? I meant to tell him this story when I gave Esmeralda, like, she don't, because she's like on the whole thing. I'll eat some of anything. I don't care as long as it just tastes good. Salty, has some oil in it. I'll eat it. Right. Um. So I'll eat the baby food. Right. If he don't eat it, then I eat it. Right. I just mix some salt and a little bit of oil, and it tastes fucking great. So I remember because she don't eat it because it's baby food, right? She's one of them types. Like, if she has in her head that it's something weird, something different, I can't do it. Nah. Right. So one time I made some spaghetti, right? And I slipped. And you know how to use for the sauce? I slipped in some baby food as the sauce and mixed it with oil and some salt, right? And I made it like a pasta, right? I remember because she was standing in another room where I used to do my videos and live streams a long time ago. And I said, "Here, try this." And she goes, that's good. What is that? I said, "Yeah." She's like, "What is that?" I said, "You ain't even gonna guess." And she's like, "Well, tell me. Tell me." I said, "It's baby food." She's like, "Oh, yeah." And of course, she didn't eat anymore because now she knows it's baby food. Tell you, man, baby food is the shit. Baby food is the shit. If you can find some good price baby food in your country, say out here you can find it. You can find it when it's gonna sell about $1 a jar. Yo, that's some of the best shit you can get. Just, I'm telling you, mix some oil and some salt with it. You cannot eat it without salt because they take out salt because babies, like, they bodies can't. I think they bladder can't handle it or some shit like that. Which makes sense. I think their bladder's not strong enough to like filter the shit out. So like, fuck, if they eat salt, it'll fuck them up when they be like small. So they take out like all the salt or majority of the salt out of any food you give them, right? So like, if you go and just open a jar of baby food and try to eat that shit, the vast majority of it tastes terrible simply because it has literally no salt in it. The only baby food that I think I've tried that actually did taste good, I think it was carrots or something. I think because I don't like carrots, but the way these were sweet carrots, so it tasted sweet, so it was like actually kind of edible. But that was the only baby food. Baby food. Now the baby fruit is still sweet. You could eat the baby fruit all day long, but the food like the spaghetti, like the beef and potatoes. Um, my favorite is the pumpkin chicken and potatoes. I think it is, and there's another one that's like rice and chicken. Those are my favorite ones. The beef is a close second, but all those the first three are my number ones. I tell you, mix that. I tell you, if you poor or you broke, well, in America, y'all, I don't know. I'm all out of touch with the U.S. because the dollar menu's gone. I'm all out of touch with the U.S. But from my memory of the U.S., if you struggling, dude, like, don't ignore the baby food section. You might find some good shit in there at a great price. You just gotta add some salt to it, and that should taste fucking amazing, right? And it'd be at a good price. Now, he don't like these, so I get these for myself. I buy them, and people think I'm buying them for him. No, bro, it's for your boy, and it's delicious. Mm. Another thing happened randomly. I got this. Oh wait, is it on the floor? You see that? It's a steering. I got the pedals down. The pedals are down here. So this dude was like randomly selling this shit for like a crazy low, well, not crazy low, but it was a low price, especially over here in Europe. Sold it for like $80, and it has force feedback. That's all I care about. For steering wheel and pedals, all I care about is that it has force feedback, and it's the Gran. It's like it's an older Gran Turismo model, but I'm using it on PC, so I don't care. That's what I love about PC is that you have so much more flexibility with PC gaming than like consoles, which is a bigger was another reason why I never bought the PS5 that I should have bought, because that just opens up a whole nother financial door with a PlayStation with the console. So he sold me that, and I got a set of Corsa up right here. You guys can't see it, but it's on my Steam computer over here. I would think I take a matter of fact here. I take a video. I take a picture real fast of what I'm looking at when I live stream. Hang on, zoom out. So I'll take a picture right now of what I see when I'm. It looks really weird. It looks all small. Like the laptops look like super small in this, but this is my fucking. Hang on, let me make myself bigger. This is what I have when I'm live streaming, which it looks really weird too, because again, like the laptop for some reason it looks like it's like super small. But I have a TV up here, a set of Corsa. Well, in this picture it's like over here, but a set of Corsa's over here, and the video I watch is over there on another monitor. But yeah, that's what I got. That I've been meaning to post it on social media. I just keep forgetting to. You know, one thing goes and another thing goes. I just don't pay any attention. You training for your learning permit? Oh, that's another great news that I forgot to bring up. So before you had to go through, like if you came to Czech Republic from the U.S. and like certain other countries, you had like your driver's license was just not valid at all after like 6 months. So they were making you go to driving school to get your Czech driver's license. Like you couldn't exchange it in any kind of way. So most people I knew just said, fuck it. I'm not paying that. Like it's like $500. And and in Europe, they gonna fail you the first time, right? Because they need money. So like they gonna get $1,000 about you before you get your new license, right? So me and everybody I've ever known who came from the West just said, no, I'm not paying that. And you just drive illegally the whole time. Well, they finally changed the law about a week ago. They finally changed the law. So you don't have to do that anymore. You had to take like a test and then you just get it. Whereas before you had to do like the driving test throughout the city and all that shit like that. So now I'm going to actually go get my Czech driver's license soon. It's funny you brought that up because that did just happen in Czech Republic. They just changed it like a week ago. But yeah, I'm playing a set of Corsa Competizione. I'll show you the game I'm playing. Hang on. This is the game I got. I got it on Steam. On PC. Shit, that's too small. This is what I got on. No, wait. Well, just might as well leave it on a car or something. But yeah. So, but it's a sim racer. It's like it's like I'm just getting back into the swing of things because I used to have because I had it on Steam for years, and as soon as he sold me this like because I want to get I'm going to build some type of cockpit or something for it, but I bought it on such short notice, and I just got this and nothing else to put it on, so I could just like tighten it onto the desk and play on the put this screen over here and play on the screen. But I'm going to eventually either just get like a cockpit or just build something on my own. But the thing about a set of Corsa is like it's like a legit like that shit's like if you turn off all the assists is pretty rough. So I was just racing on Brand. If anybody knows about racing, I was just racing at Brands Hatch. I was doing Bathurst and I can't remember the other one I was doing, but I just did 3 tracks. I just got to the point where I could actually finish a 5-minute race without crashing because like it's not like. So for example, like Gran Turismo is good. I'm not trying to bash Gran Turismo. Like say like Forza, Gran Turismo and Forza are good. But like a set of Corsa is like if you turn off all the assists, a set of Corsa is just on a whole nother level. Entirely different level, man. I remember when I first started playing, I was racing at Oh, so on Gran Turismo, you have what's called like weekly races, and it's like weekly online races where you do multiplayer. I did hundreds of hours in Gran Turismo on these exact tracks that I fucked around and tried to and thought I was some hot shit and tried to hop into a set of Corsa. I couldn't even finish a fucking lap on a set of Corsa alone without wrecking, right? And it took about a week before I can get that just to get through a track doing one lap without slide. Like it was just a set of Corsa is on an entirely different level because like say like for okay, every time I think of the comparison of a set of Corsa to Gran Turismo, I think it's this car kids toy from let's say from the 80s. It was like something. Let me see if I could find. It was like on a screen. Yeah, this shit. Gran Turismo to a set of after you play a set of Corsa, Gran Turismo feels like this, right? So for anybody who's interested in sim racing or racing games, Gran Turismo to a set of Corsa, this is Gran Turismo. So Gran Turismo is good. Now, to be fair, I haven't played Gran Turismo 7, so I don't know yet. But when I play GT Sport and any other Gran Turismo, it's pretty much the same thing. Where in Gran Turismo, you don't really have to worry about like just the leveling of like any little slight dip in the ground. You don't have like it's like in Gran Turismo, the car is essentially like glued to the ground kind of thing. And on top of that, like in the newer Gran Turismos, it feels like the car is also like it's almost programmed to keep the car straight unless you just spin out kind of thing. And like it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Like I love Gran Turismo. I played a shitload of Gran Turismo Sport online. Played tons of hours of that online. But when you jump from Gran Turismo to a set of Corsa, you won't have a hard time, bro. Because a set of Corsa, like I said, I was racing in Bathurst, and just hitting a straightaway at full speed is like in real life. So for anybody who's driven relatively fast in a car, like once you start hitting like 90, 100, 120 and above, like any slight indentation in the ground, you can feel the car like start to lose its weight, and the suspension starts to. It's a whole nother ball game, right? And that's how a set of Corsa feels. Like you can't really ever completely turn your brain off when you play it. Whereas Gran Turismo, you always could kind of turn your brain off because it's essentially just like. It feels more like this game. Like it's still fun. I had a ton of fun playing it. And I think their online is pretty much the only thing that really keeps them in the game at this point is they're readily available online. Because I tried to play Forza Motorsport on Xbox Game Pass, and that online is just like it takes like 20 minutes to get into a fucking match, and it's just these really big, much bigger wait times to get into online play. Whereas Gran Turismo was essentially every 10 to 15 minutes. Like I think online in Gran Turismo is the only thing keeping Gran Turismo going at this point. Outside of that, I don't really see a reason why. I think if Gran Turismo's online just like shut down, that would kill. I would say at minimum half their fan base from where it is now. But instead of Corsa, where they do well is it's a great fucking simulator. It's a great sim racer. Like I love it. It's difficult, and you're not gonna just hop into that motherfucker and be great. Like you gotta really all the little things. If you play Gran Turismo, all the little things that you don't even realize that you just not really paying attention to and just kind of going through. A set of Corsa will punish you for that. A set of Corsa, in theory, is like from soft level difficulty. Like if you make a mistake, like you're going to know. There ain't gonna be no like, oh, it's very rare you make a mistake and it just gets like blown off. Even though I don't like FromSoft, I think they're outdated, but I can recognize what they do with that. Like if you make a mistake, like there is no, just blow it off. Like a Gran Turismo, you can fuck around and bump into the wall, get a little punishment, but you keep going for it, right? But in this, your car gonna be fucked up, right? And then when your car gets fucked up, like the car damage model is a whole nother situation. Because now if your car is fucked up, that's included in the simulations part of how fast you go. So now if you try to go hit a $150 down a straightaway, and try to slam on the brakes at the same braking point, your car ain't gonna react the same. You're gonna go flying off in a fucking corner somewhere, right? So it's like it's all these little things. In my opinion, a wide set of course is definitely the superior game for sure. Now, with that being said, I still think Gran Turismo is more fun. I still think is more fun. You can have a lot more fun with Gran Turismo, and it has the look of like a borderline like luxurious feel and good music, relatively speaking, kind of classy soundtrack, shit like that. But overall, like it can't come. You can't compare. Like, okay, I remember one guy, like the guy who's pretty much synonymous in YouTube with like sim racing. His name's Super GT. I still remember like as he played a lot of Gran Turismo online, and I remember like when he had tried to flip to set a Corsa in a live stream, and he was just like frustrated, like he just couldn't do it, like. He was like spinning off the track, off in the grass. Whereas in Gran Turismo, he's a badass at Gran Turismo, right? And Forza, motherfucker's like, compared to me, he's fucking great at that shit, right? And he went to set a Corsa, he was having problems. Like, but every game is good and bad for whatever reason. I just seen a donation, but I don't know where it went. It's not showing up in my mini feed. So I think it was RBT. I seen a donation pop up, but it's not. I don't see it in my mini feed at all. And the last thing I see is something from 8 days ago, where it says the Mad Titan subscribed. So sorry man, I can't read it. I don't know what. I have no idea what it says. It's not. It's just not even showing up. You try moving it. See if that'll do it. Yeah, it's just not showing up. The last thing I have in my mini feed, it says from 8 days ago. So I can't even see it, man. But thanks for the donation. I appreciate it. And I can see it at the bottom, at that dollar at the bottom. But I can't even, it's not even showing up, man. I can't, this Streamlabs for you. Can't even see it. I'm not going to lie to you. The reason I gravitate to you is because you have been saying everything that I've always been thinking. Thanks, Carlitos away. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in and commenting. My baby drink is gone. You see, let me catch up on these comments. So, it's baby food. Yeah, UAD. Do many Western women travel to Prague? If so, what would you say their experience is like? Well, so when I first came here, I worked at an international company for like a month, and I just received disability from them after that. But when I do meet people like out and about, like for example, one friend of mine, I actually got to write him back. He's actually from Cape Town, from South Africa, and we actually just hung out like a few weeks ago. He took me to this area where like more Americans will hang out. And it's not even like super nice or anything. It's like a regular area, but I think it's more for like expats kind of thing. When I say what my opinion was always been this: the Western women. Okay, in my opinion, the only Western women in the vast majority that I've ever fully like that I've known in my experiences, like let's say like the American women. The Western women who do come to Prague, they usually end up just severely unhappy, right? They usually and if I had to guess, it's going to be that same thing for the vast majority because of the dynamic of what's happening. Whereas most men would come here and would at least be happy from the standpoint of different food, seeing bitches that aren't fat or, just completely fat all the time, and having cheap beer, right? Most men will eventually can eventually, level down to see that and have some type of good time. I mean, there'll be cultural issues too, but but in terms of what men really are looking at type of thing, when it comes to women, like most men would be happy about the women that they have contact with, out here. Whereas with Western women, when they come out here, they're essentially leaving Mount Olympus. So for them, it's usually just a complete step backwards. And at that point, the only way that they could really really spin something out of it would be to like have a baby with somebody here and then go back to America and say, hey, look, my baby's half European. Like, and that's really the max that they could really milk out of it, kind of thing. Because at that point, like the woman really, she's gonna have issues. Like, okay, a lot of people would do what I do just so, and I've caught myself kind of thinking about it, right? A lot of people would do what I do or other expats who are better than me have done. They'll use this as like as a bookmark in their life, kind of like a college degree, right? Like a sense of eternal permanence of being successful at one point. So they could say they lived, abroad, right? Um, but with the thing is with Western women, the, it's a step down from their perspective. It's a step down for them because they want to be because a woman just wants to she always wants to just go higher and higher and higher, right? So it's pretty much inevitable that she's gonna end up being just completely miserable, like because okay, even if she has a kid here, well, she has a kid here, and it's gonna but it's a lower wage, lower cost of living, blah 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 blah, and she remembers what wages are in North America and what her friends are doing in North America, or a Western country, and she's gonna end up miserable one way or another, dude. Like it never really. I've never known. I personally have never known of a Western woman who can stay here long and be genuinely. I mean, like genuinely happy. Like I'm genuinely happy here. I do have issues with culture clashes, shit like that, and I ran about it a lot. But when it comes like raising a child and like just existing, I would definitely pick Prague way over North America. When it comes to raising a child, going out looking at women, getting some cheap alcohol, shit like that. Oh, I definitely pick Czech Republic over, with all its issues. I would pick here over North America any day of the week. Until I want something like a smartphone or something like that. Then I go back to North. I'd prefer to get it from North America then, but or anything like customer service, these little things, I'd prefer North America. But when it comes like just really living, I'd prefer Czech Republic. Oh, easily, no comparison. Can I get that cut? Can a kid get in that cut? Can a ninja get in that cut? I don't know what that means. You mean I thought you meant a haircut. Trying to roast me, but now it sounds like clothes. I don't know what that means. What's up, Charlie Guns? What's up, Oliver Biscuit? Martin Labe? Kevin Megumi, what's up? Yo, okay, yeah. Let's see. True. I failed my German driver's test the first time for no real reason. It was 1,000 marks. Yeah. That you see see. Because people always want to roast North America because people just don't. Everybody wants to really roast North America because the rest of the world really doesn't understand North America. So it's like, so so they don't really know that even though North America is not perfect by any means, but like they don't. But most of the world just doesn't really understand it because it's just so massive, right? And there's just so many different cultures, so many different ways around, so many different ways to do things. Like North America is just massive as fuck, so nobody knows how to make. Nobody really knows North America. So here's the thing: when you tell a Westerner about something like this concept, like when you go get your driver's license out in Europe, like chances are you're going to fail the first time because they try and get that money out you like much harder than North America is, right? I'm only using North America because that's where I'm from. Because I guess you could use UK in the same context, but I don't know what their system necessarily for driver's license is like. So that's why I'm not using them. But if you were to if I were to go onto a college campus or anywhere or anywhere in the U.S. and say that yeah in Europe like it's a good chance you're gonna fail the driver's license test the first time because that's just how they do because they try and get that money out of you, like you're gonna fail it the first time kind of thing, and that driver's license is much more like a specialty here kind of thing. North American, they probably want to fight you for it because they want to see Europe as this as the land of the white gods. That's what I always say. I tell my girl that like they want to see it as land of the white gods, right? Like that's just how America and pretty much the world sees Europe. America sees Europe like that because Europe is historical, and like this part of the world sees Europe as that because Europe has that Western influence that helped keep it surviving. So I think Europeans are very confused in their real position. I think America's really confused. I think everybody's really confused about Europe, but it works out in Europe's favor. Whereas where people end up kind of hate North America because nobody really understands it, kind of thing. um, but yeah, like if you were to go back I was watching one clip of this Asian girl. She was from I think South Korea or something, and she was in a podcast or something, and she said, yeah, the rest like Westerners don't really realize how xenophobic like the rest of the world is. Like I thought I emailed it to myself because I was gonna post it somewhere, but it was this Asian girl. Let me see if I can find it. This Asian girl was she was on a podcast and she was saying, yeah, like Westerners really don't know how xenophobic the rest of the world is because they'll be, especially if it's a white Westerner, like they just don't have any clue because the world's made for them, right? So they'll just have no idea by the time a white Westerner does show up somewhere, well, they're seen as the white Westerner who's got money. So like they're going to be treated a certain way right off the bat. They're going to be immediately be treated a certain way right off the bat, right? And then, let me go to my other email. I think I emailed it to myself. It was this link, and it was this agent. Like she was saying how. I don't think I could find it. She was saying like what Westerners don't really understand how xenophobic the rest of the world is, and just how like just honestly kind of shitty like how racist and xenophobic the rest of the world is. Like then and we really, from all levels, like we really can't see it. Where the fuck did I send? Oh, here it is. I think this is it right here. This is a YouTube short. Is this it?
I think this is.
Yeah, this is it right here. Let me play this. I think this is the one where she goes on about it.
I think this is where Americans don't know how other countries are so racist. How exceptional America is.
Yeah.
Yeah, in South Korea, they discriminate literally. All the people come from poor countries.
That's the world.
That includes, I'm so sorry, India, Philippines, Thailand,
yeah, that's the
Vietnam,
world,
and North Korea too. We are very poor.
Yeah.
And they look up to people coming from the Western European countries who are white. And
yeah.
So, yeah, even though we speak the same language, we have same genetics, same history, we are same Korean, they just discriminate us because we are coming from a poor country.
Yeah, yeah. Now maybe the world might listen because an attractive white skinned woman saying it versus now if I say it I'll just be an angry black man, right? And I'm uncomfortable and all that shit like that, right? But so the world might fuck around and listen
I think this is
because she said it because an attractive white skinned woman just said it, right? But yeah, I say it all the time. Like especially North America, like they don't like we really don't. I got a good taste of it because I've been out a little longer. So, and I've left tourist areas kind of thing like that. And I really kind of got mingled in with like the realities of lifestyles. Oh, the world is like North America is when it comes to xenophobia, North Americans are nowhere near as hardcore as the rest of the world is with this shit.
This is where Americans don't know how other countries are so racist. How exceptional America is.
Yeah.
Yeah, in South Korea, they discriminate literally. All the people come from poor countries. That includes, I'm so sorry, India, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, and North Korea too. We are very poor.
Yeah.
And they look up to people coming from the Western European countries who are white. And so, yeah, even though we speak the same language, we have same genetics, same history, we are same Korean, they just discriminate us because we are coming from a poor country.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that's real shit. Like I said, the world might listen to her because she's an attractive white-skinned woman. But if a black person says that, they're just a mad black person who's angry and yeah, and it's poppycock type of shit. Like yeah, all that type. I mean, like it's all that. So maybe like people may listen if they listen to her say it. But oh yeah, like the world's very racist and xenophobic. North America's not. And North America's close. North America has a more violent past with it. Especially in terms of how North America became, became a worldwide superpower. I think it's more harsh of a acknowledgement. But when it comes to like just everyday casual shit, oh no, like no, North America ain't even is not even close in the complications of it. You said, damn, they scamming people over there in Europe. Oh yeah, yeah. Especially the American soldiers at the time, you had to get your international license to drive military vehicles on their roads. Yeah, so the international license is still a thing now. You can get that from like AAA. I had mine. I think it's like $50 or something like that. It's been so long since I had it. But yeah, you can get an international. And you don't even have to do anything for it nowadays. I don't know what it was like maybe when you did it, but when I did it, you just go like AAA and you just take like your driver's license to AAA and you just fill out like where you going and you literally it's just, like you don't have to do any type of test or anything like that. If you have your driver's license and just go to AAA, you just pay for it. They give you this like little booklet and like it's not even a booklet, it's just like a folded piece of paper. I think with like a picture in it or something like that, and it's like it was a gray like book or something, and yeah, you just buy it and you can drive in like a lot of it's not good for every country, but it's good for a lot of countries. I can't remember the specifics on it now. Let's look it up actually since I'm on here. It's a lot of countries, but because I remember in the book it had a list of all the here it is, here it is. These are countries who honor that. It's just this little fucking book. But it's like it's not every single country, but it's pretty much where most people are gonna go or ever gonna go. It's gonna cover all these countries. Now this was okay, yeah. So these are like the little intricacies. So for example, Europe, I think there's like the Vienna Convention or something like that, where in Europe, Czech Republic specifically, they like other EU countries and like some countries out of EU, like they can go to the like the DMV and just exchange it. Whereas like I think South Africa couldn't do it, New Zealand couldn't do it if I'm not mistaken. But like certain countries, we can't like Americans, we can't we couldn't before. Now we just gotta take like a written test and now we can do it. But yeah, they're fucking you up, bro. Bruh. 100 plus that ish just feels light and squirrely in real life. Oh, you talking about racing? Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you drive like when you start hitting like 90, 100 miles an hour, the car will start like feel like it's like floating. Yeah, you're talking about the simulation. When I was talking about simulation racing, I'm out here outside alone. I always look up to you, brother. Please invest me, brother. I'm a hard worker. I will pay you back in your investment with interest. Invest. I don't know. Okay, I'm kind of confused about about what that means, but young Colombian, is that like a Cash App thing or something? I don't know what that is. Young Colombian 44. Is that like a Twitter or something? I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, okay. So hey D, can I get your Cash App to come? I cannot get your Cash App to. I want to donate, but it does not come up. How do I donate to your do the math money count? Oh, should be a PayPal link in the description somewhere. I'm so bad at this shit, man. I'm so bad at social media and all these apps. Yeah, Cash App, it offloaded. It's not even loaded on my phone. I gotta download it right now. It's not even on. I'm so bad with social media and all this shit. PayPal is usually like the preferred way because I can do PayPal. Everything else, I just get like completely like just lose track of it. I guess I've got to download Cash App right now. It wasn't even on my phone. It like offloaded it for some reason. But it should be in the description below. How you always do that in the description below. But thanks to Warrior for even asking about it. Appreciate it. Comedy exposure. Can you do Friday live stream? Yeah, if I have time, I'll get to it. Yeah, for sure. Comedy exposure. It's the intro from a song. Americans in Dominican Republic are treated like gods. If you go to Dominican Republic, you will like to come. You will like to come back. Yeah. Gretlin de la Cruz. I hope I pronounced that right. I hope I didn't butcher your name, which I probably did. But yeah, that's a part that the privileged. Well, I was always honestly I was always kind of disgusted by that. So like when I travel, I don't do like tourist groups. You know, the tourist group thing, the get a tour guide, I don't to ride some boat with everybody or a bus with everybody. I whenever I would travel, I would always end up just like the first thing I want to do is go down that long road where I can't see the end of it and go off and go see some reality, right? I never really want to stay, you know, like where the tourists stayed. I was always like that. I remember when I would go to New York City, the first thing that I did was just hop on a train and get away from everybody I knew who went with me and just go somewhere alone, right? I will always, when I was in Alamos, man, the first thing I thought was to catch this tram that was just going down into the unknown, but I ended up catching the wrong one and went back to town. But you know, when it comes like that privilege, yeah, when it comes to the privilege thing, like it is like I come from privilege, dude. So I come from the U.S. It is what it is, right? So there's gonna be parts that I'll never be able to truly understand, right, about the other side. Like I'm humble enough to admit it. Um, it is what it is, right? Um, Now I think the reason why I can be so humble to admit it is because of my skin color, right? Like I can say like yes, I am a man of privilege compared to a fucking Serbian, right? A white dude from Serbia, right? Or a white dude from like I am of privilege. And on top of that, I don't think that I'm better than the motherfucker from Serbia or Dominican. I genuinely do not think I'm better than you. Like now if the conversation comes up about the reality of where our countries are coming from, yeah, I'm not going to shy away from that conversation at all. Like there's nothing. I'm not going to shy away from reality, but like by no means do I think I'm better than anybody on any, not even on that like subconscious like type of shit, right? And that's where me and my gay uncle used to fall out because he he was on that shit, right? He was always on this like we have to be superior. This like he would be on that shit, man, and I never get whenever that topic comes up, like I will always start an argument or this argument. If he's watching, then well, then fuck it. But the argument came a few days ago. We were talking about jobs, and we were talking about fast food workers, and the person I was talking to was saying, well, why don't they just go get a better job? Just go get a better job. I said, yeah, like, you know, that's bullshit. Like, just telling somebody to just go get a better job that's diving into snobby territory for me. Like, I would never tell somebody just go get a better job. Now, I would say that your job is probably, you know, fucking you up with women. I would say something like that, but I would never phrase it like just go get another job, right? Because if everybody had the option, they would just go and be, you know, the CEO of Apple tomorrow. Like, people have to do jobs because they have to do them, right? Like on a deeper down level, like I don't think there's really a part of me that will genuinely think that I'm better than anybody. And the reason why is because I think one big reason why is because I would go out and experiment in poverty. Now, with saying that, I never grew up in poverty, so I'm essentially Batman, right? I adopted the dark. I wasn't born in the dark. I adopted it. Right now, Batman's a badass motherfucker in his, you know, in his lore, but he adopted that shit and got it right. Batman was not born in the dark, right? I was not born in the dark, right? So there's just parts of that shit that I'm never gonna fully get, right? Because I was exposed to too much at a younger age, so I'm never gonna completely get what it's like to be on the complete underside of life, right? And not be able to see a light at the end of the tunnel. Or even know that there is a light there is a light, or you even in a tunnel, right? Like some people get stuck in from that perspective, right? It's the realities, and none of this was done on purpose. Like I had no choice of where I was born. Nobody had a choice where they were born, right? I can go on about that for hours, man. It's called worldwide hypergamy. always looking up. But yeah, when I was because I was telling my Esmeralda, like I remember back when I was in college, and I was living in the homeless shelters, and I was telling her I remember when I was in college, because I essentially ran away from home because it was just nothing there. Like that the economy was going in like 2004 2005 in Ohio, the way that the economy was going, the jobs you can get, like it was becoming very clear to me like that this like if I had stayed where I was at in Ohio, I would I would be praying to get a warehouse job for the rest of my life. I would never be able to see anything above if I'd be lucky, I get a manager job in a warehouse. Like if I was super lucky, or I could probably get like if I was super lucky, a tip agency may take a chance on me to put me in a fucking office doing some basic bullshit work, right? That's the mentality of the area that I came from. Now we weren't poor by any means, but in terms of a future, there was just no future there. None. There was just no future. Okay, and this is why I try to tell older people, and I tell my dad, in reality, for me living in the suburbs, that was a come up for my mom and dad. That was a come up for them. But for me, that was a dead end because I didn't know. I had no idea where university was at. Nobody was even talking about universities. There was no good jobs to be had out there. They came up, worked a lot of years, built up their wages from raises and all that shit, and they could afford that. But as a kid who grew up in that, there was just nothing there. So your only option is to leave or stay there and get stuck in. And that's essentially what happened to most of the people who I grew up with. They either stayed there and they're still working at factories and warehouses to this day, or the very few percentage of us got up and ran away and left in some form and pretty much stayed on the whole time, or came back after like 10 years or something like that. Right? Right. And I remember, so when I ran away, that's why I got to call it, because I couldn't have told anybody I was going off to live in a homeless shelter to go to college, because if I had stayed in Cincinnati, there was nothing for me there to actually develop into. I remember going to the cafeteria, dude, at Sinclair at the community college. I remember going to the cafeteria. I'm gonna get graphic. I would go to the cafeteria and seeing pizza, because you'd be hungry, and the pizza would be like $2.50 a slice, dude. And in those years, $2.50 might as well have been $1 million. I couldn't afford that. To get a fucking piece of pizza at the cafeteria for school lunch, I just didn't have the money, right? Then it's like, well, then you don't want to call back and ask somebody for it, because then they're going to start asking questions and all that. So I just lived with it because I was determined to fucking develop into something on my own, right? Now, it could have worked out. It couldn't have worked out. I wasn't in total control of that. It ended up working out. But I remember being like dead for, so I'm going to get graphic. I remember I was so broke. So I had to learn how to live off of like 50 cents a day. Because then you can go back to the homeless shelter and get free food at night. And in the morning, they'd always have like some bullshit stale bagel or something like that in the morning. But at night, they would always serve hot food. So I knew when I went back to the homeless shelter, I can get some hot food when I got back. So throughout the day, I would have to survive on pretty much a good day would be $1, right? So I had to learn the foods to buy that could fill you up the longest. So I remember I would go down the street to like, all we had in the area down there was like, I think like a Rite Aid, or for those of you who know the place, like a Rite Aid, Walgreens, these type of like drugstores that kind of sell some little bullshit food on the side kind of thing. I would go to, or there's like these little street like bodegas kind of thing. Here they call them pachavenis. These little usually owned by like foreigners. They have these little shops with like marked up food because there's no grocery stores in the area. So I would go get like ramen noodles, right? And not even like the good ones, like the shit, off-brand kind, because I couldn't afford the good ones on any realistic level. So I kept eating that shit, dude, and I ended up getting hemorrhoids, right? I ended up shitting blood off that shit, dude. Like, no fucking joke. I ended up shitting blood because I was eating ramen noodles all the time. So then I had to go to Rite Aid and get ramen noodles and fucking, what's the, Metamucil. But I couldn't even afford, like, the real Metamucil. I had to get, like, that fiber in a can shit. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. This shit, yeah, this fiber. This is the type of shit. So you would see me in the cafeteria, right? With it was a small styrofoam bowl that was really meant for something else, but you can get it, and it wasn't meant for the ramen. But I had to make it work. I had to go to the drinking fountain, get the water in the cup, microwave the cup, microwave the water, get it hot, and then put the ramen noodles in there and wait for it to mix up, and then drink some Metamucil with the fucking ramen noodles. So I stopped shitting blood because it ripped my fucking asshole open, right? And because I was telling my girl, like I was telling her, like how pathetic I think homeless people in Czech Republic are. I don't have respect for homeless people in Czech Republic, and the reason why I don't is because you cannot go fucking 2 blocks without being able to go to any fucking grocery store and getting bread for fucking 10 cents and a pack of meat for $1 and a bottle of water for 8 cents. If I had that option when I was 22, I would have thought I was in fucking heaven, dude. And these dumb motherfuckers can't even figure out how to use fucking soap. You fucking serious? And on top of that, you got a fucking tram that you can ride around all goddamn day, every day to get wherever you want. It's no fucking excuse for you to be that fucking dirty and fucked up, right? Because I already did that shit. I did it. I know it. I did it with less than them, and I wasn't walking around like that. I knew how to. You can always find you some. So when you live in homeless shelters, they gonna okay. Two things. When you live in homeless shelters, you gonna have some soap. You gonna have some soap, and they gonna find a way to get you some food. It's not gonna be luxury shit, but they gonna find a way. Like you might have to go back at at a certain time, but you gonna have. So it's no excuse for these motherfuckers, these homeless motherfuckers in Czech Republic to be walking around looking like this. Fucking pathetic, dude. I have no fucking zero respect for these homeless motherfuckers out in Europe because they soft as fuck and they spoiled. I have no fucking respect for that because I went through that shit on top of studying biotechnology. Right? The fuck out of here. Because I was telling her like, yeah, like, see, because we on the conversation because I was talking about, when you homeless, nighttime is the worst time. The daytime is always kind of cool because you could still kind of, you could see people, you could blend, you can, try to walk around with society. But see, at night is the hardest time when you homeless. Because when you homeless, when you out there, right? Nighttime is when you notice all the people going back home, they get to go back home. They don't have to stay out here anymore. They go back home, right? Well, you don't really have a home like that where you can go home and just put the world on pause, right? Where you out there like that, like you are always on edge a little bit because you might have to sleep in a car or if you sleep in a homeless shelter, well, you sleep in a room where it's just like tons of people just out there just snoring in the same room as you, smelling, farting, sick, coughing, sneezing, and all y'all just in a room together, right? Right? And nighttime is just like the worst depressing time to be, the worst depressing time to be homeless. And the daytime it's manageable. You can kind of forget about it because you can see people again and all that shit. But at night that was always like the most depressing part, man. Always. I forgot how I even got on that topic. Oh, yeah. I'm stuck. I know the feeling. Oliver Biscuit, yo, yeah. Dude, I was there while studying biotech. I got so many stories about that. I remember, because I would always want to leave the homeless shelter like as soon as I got up, man. And I remember I did have a car, and I remember I would drive to this parking lot, and I would sit under the light in this parking lot, like at like 5:30, 6 a.m. I would sit under. There was this light at the Dayton Flyers Arena, and my car be out there. I'd be the only car there before the school people got there to set up parking because they would have to set up the parking. I'd be the only one in there with my biotech book reading under the light. It was just me in my car and the light shining through, and I'm sitting here just reading in the book, and I'm there before the school people get there. I'm the only one in there. Right. I was telling my girl, like, yeah, because when you be in college, like, there's days where people come across, like, and they give out like free food, and like, dude, when that shit would happen, that would make my fucking day, man. Like, those were like the best days. So like after that time period, like I learned the value. In that time period, I learned the value of food, storing food, having some reserve somewhere, some backup somewhere. I learned the true value of that shit. So that's why now when I hear motherfuckers be talking about they be skipping meals, they out here skipping meals. Like, no, ain't no excuse for that. No, because it's too many options to work through it. But get you look when times are good, go out there and get you some lentils, get you some ramen noodles. You know, I think ramen is actually too expensive, to be honest. Now that I've been through it and I could look at it better. At the time, I was doing ramen noodles because I didn't know what to do. Now that I've been through it and I could look back on it and I remember that time and what would have been a better thing to do. Now what I would tell you to do is because you got to look at it at cost per meal, right? Not just like what you buying. So when times are good, stock up on some red lentils because those are easiest to cook. Get you a lot of cheap pasta because even the cheapest pasta has some vitamins and fiber in it. So or some minerals and fiber in it. Get you some pasta, get you some lentils. Make sure you got some oil, salt, and if you good, if you know how to bake, make sure flour is a fucking $1, dude, and that flour will last you a long time. Bread is one of the things bread is one of the biggest ripoff between bread and coffee. Those two are the biggest ripoffs in grocery stores. Dairy is that's about as good as you're going to get unless you just own a cow. But because most people aren't going to have a garden to grow fruits and vegetables, so I'm not going to include that. But I would say bread and coffee are the two things that are the biggest. Anything that has to do with bread or has to do with coffee are the two biggest ripoffs out there, easily. Pizza is the biggest ripoff. Pizza it's got to be between pizza and coffee, in my opinion. Because if you talk about meat, well, you know, you didn't go and raise a cow, cut the cow, you know, drain its blood, you cut the meat out, you know, make sure it didn't go bad. Like, so I think butchers are very undervalued for their work. Real butchers, I think I have a very high respect for real butchers and real farmers. I have a very high respect for those fields because I think they don't get paid enough at all for what they do. But when I hear stories about people talking about I'm working and I'm skipping and I'm missing meals. No, okay. What I heard is I'm too lazy to learn how to cook. I'm too lazy to learn how to bake and learn how to cook shit. Because with this day and age, with technology and the price of shit you can get, no, you may not be eating what you want to eat, but okay, I'm not saying anybody can't go dead broke, but if a motherfucker is working a job, knowing what I know now and know how to survive, because I'm speaking off of already knowing what to do. If a person just found themselves in that position, I think it's harder for them. But no, like missing meals, shit like that, I ain't been worried about that since then. Because I learned that shit in reality in 4K, in 20K. Like I said, go get you, what times are good, go get you some red lentils, okay, now there are some areas that are like food deserts, so I'm leaving that out. There are areas like that. If you're not in a food desert, right, get the fuck out of them if you can, out of them Las Vegas, LA areas, New York, Manhattan, shit. Just get the fuck, that's step one, get the fuck out of places like that. And you look at cost per, look, my cost per meal now, like if I did the math on how much I'm paying per day to eat now, unless I eat when I go out, I'm eating I'd say on an expensive day, like when I'm eating at home and shit, like on an average day, I'm eating less than $5 a day because I know how to cook. I would say at the highest point, I say typically about $3 a day, maybe less than that. When you factor in like the total amount of food that you take from what you bought, type of shit, I'm at about, I say on a high end, about $5, about $5 a day, because I know how to cook. And here's the thing. I've been thinking about this all week. A part of me even feels a little guilty, right? A part of me feels guilty because it gets to a point where like I've become pretty good at being self-sufficient to the point where I almost feel guilty that I don't spend a lot of money, right? Like I almost feel guilty that I'm able to live the lifestyle that I genuinely want and I'm happy with, and I don't spend a lot of money, dude. I don't spend. I will guarantee you, my monthly expenses are less than the vast majority of people in this chat room right now. I would guarantee it. I will guarantee it. I will absolutely guarantee it. My lifestyle, like I don't, I will guarantee it. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. And I feel guilty, and I'll start feeling guilty because I feel like I should be struggling or something like that, right? I feel like I should be like I feel like I should, I feel like I shouldn't be this happy without being broke. Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I shouldn't be this genuinely happy with my life, in my life, and not, having to check my bank account all the time to like if I need to put gas in my car or something like that, right? Like I feel like I almost feel guilty about it, to be honest with you. Living for cheap is one of the things I love that I love or like about. Yeah, in Europe, yeah, you can get by with the necessities for a lot cheaper. Now I did find that steering wheel and pedals for a crazy good price. A dude sold it for like 70, $80, something like that. In the Czech Republic, that's an amazing price for that. So I jumped on that as soon as I seen it. Homeless strats. Tachyon. Yo, Tachyon, were you the one who gave me? Oh yeah, that was yeah. Hey man, thanks for the shout out through the address and my question. Yeah, and a whole ass separate video. Yeah, and Tachyon, that topic about the consequences of passport bros. That topic is, I think, one that okay. I really do like. I do want to like. I hope it gets more light, but I feel like it would that would give women the that would give Western women more fuel to hate Western men, kind of thing. But in the end, like I still totally own that. My opinion and your opinion. Well, I don't know your total opinion, but like I own the reality of that whole situation. Like I'm not running from that at all or try to downplay it at all. Um, yeah. I can't study or concentrate when hungry. When I was younger, I could do all that. Being hungry didn't really bother me like that. Now I think these kind of things that people say like this bothers me. But when I was younger, man, like I was just when I was younger, I just knew how to just like completely tune out anything once I got like focused on it. Like so I just didn't have these problems with the now I probably would. But back then, no. Like now, dude, I won't even hold my piss in for 5 minutes. When I gotta pee, I'm gonna go pee. All right. I'm not gonna ask no boss at a job, can I use a bathroom? All right, I'm going to the bathroom. You can watch me walk to the bathroom. I'm going to this bathroom, bro. And I'm not holding it. Because my girl, she be doing that shit. She be on some, oh, I gotta pee so bad. I was like, why you wait? What? She's like, oh, I gotta pee. I can't hold it. I gotta pee. Like, no, like, if you had to pee, go pee. Don't hold this shit for me in a conversation. Go. I don't play that shit. Yeah, back in them days at Sinclair. And I still remember when I first moved into that studio apartment, man, from the homeless shelter. Let me tell you something. When you live in a homeless shelter, living in not even a walk-in closet, living in just like a regular closet that's just alone with your peace and quiet, might as well be a mansion, dude. Coming out of a homeless shelter with all them smells and then these, oh, I remember when I first moved in that studio out of the homeless shelter, and it was dirty too because it was somebody. I think it was a single mother who lived there before me, and because they left like this bunk bed with a futon underneath it, and I kept it. I just slept on it the whole time I was there. I just kept it. But the whole place, I had to like clean up the whole flat. It was a whole flat was just like dirty. They left it fucked up, and I didn't care, man. Like I was happy to move in that motherfucker, right? Because when you leave the homeless shelter and move into anything that where you can get some alone time and peace and quiet, dude, Elon Musk has nothing on that feeling, right? Becoming a billionaire has nothing on that feeling, dude. Nothing. I was living luxury at that point. Now, it was a studio apartment, and that was luxury at that point. So, like I said, I learned in those years, up front and center, like the value of always having a back. I make so many backups to where, like, we ran out of laundry detergent, right? And I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta buy some more laundry detergent. And she goes, and my girl, she goes, no, Wendell, you have laundry detergent. Remember, you bought it as a backup like years ago and sitting over there in the closet. I completely forgot. And she's like, damn, and it was over there. And this is what, like, I've set so many backup plans at this point that I've forgotten more than I can remember that I even I was so traumatized. I was so traumatized by 2009. I got backup plans and some everywhere that I done forgot. I forgot it's even there. Don't even remember it's there. Because I be trying to tell her, like, because I'm out here alone. I'm out in Europe alone, dude. Like, so it's on me to make these decisions. So I had to, because I got this from a Batman comic. I think Green Lantern. I think Green Lantern was the one who seen this about. It was a Justice League comic. Fuck Batman, but I love Batman when he's in the Justice League. I think he's cool then. But and he goes, "Oh no, now I get it. Batman doesn't need a backup plan. He is the backup plan," type of thing, right? And that's what I told my girl. So I said, look, I don't need anybody for it. I said, like, in my position, I cannot afford to lean on somebody for a backup plan. I have to be the backup plan, right? Because I'm out here alone. Yeah, my daddy is 5,000 miles away, right? The quickest he can get here, the quickest daddy could get here, the quickest my daddy could get here is 12 hours, right? I'm out here alone. Ain't nobody coming for me like that. So it's up. Every decision I make is completely on me. What's up, J Rollo? AD, why'd you live in a homeless shelter? To get out of to get out of Cincinnati and to develop my own life. Because if I hadn't done that, I would have stayed at home and I probably wouldn't have done anything. In that area was just getting bad. There was just nothing there. What happened in that area was the only jobs you can get would be if you maybe to work in a mall. Or if you were lucky, work in a factory and get paid like maybe $2 an hour or more or something like that. Outside of that, very few people in that area were actually cut out for office work because we all just kind of came from blue collar families or lower end white collar families. So like the kids who were there, most of them, okay, out of everybody I went to high school with, I still look them up on Facebook from time to time now. Man, like the vast majority of them just never did anything. The vast majority of them, if anything, they tried to be more ghetto and gangster than anything else. And we were not living in the ghetto. Okay, they were posers. They thought that shit was cool. The vast majority of them never did. And the few times I go back to Ohio, I end up bumping into like one or two of them here. I remember I went back to Ohio one time, and this one dude used to make fun of me. He used to call me Sam Cassell back in high school, right? His name was Nelson. Right? And he used to roast me, call me Sam, because he used to always just blur out Sam Cassell, right? Roast me, right? I went back to Ohio, and true story. Went back to Ohio, went to Walmart up the street from my dad's house. And, come back from Europe wearing, in nice shit, got the BMW outside at Walmart. So I'm back, at my dad's house. And I walk into Walmart, guess who I see? It was Nelson. with the little gun. With the little gun, with the little beep beep, he just looked at me and said, "Oh, what's up, boy?" With the little gun. You know what I mean? I just said, and just kept walking. He's still out there, man. Like the vast majority of them, some close friends of mine, a couple of them, one friend of mine, he's teaching at University of Cincinnati. From where I'm from in Cincinnati. I'm not talking about the friends I had in Dayton, but the ones in Cincinnati that I went to high school with. One of them, he's teaching at UC. The girls, they're all okay. I remember one girl, Olivia. Now she was like kind of like a nerd. She turned into a badass bitch. She developed and ended up real good looking. But most of them just got fat, just dumb, or had like 4 kids, you know. And that's all that was really left. If you stayed in that area, that's the friend of mine who's teaching at UC. He left. He went off and left for like 10 years, like me, and came back with a family. But the most of them just never, just because there's nothing. If you stay there, there's nothing there. Wait, let me start this video. Tech has also heard from an old head that the other day that women should have other female friends, so all those rats in their head that they have forcing them to pick verbal fights with you can go away. But they women, and I agree with that. But women need to have friends. Women can only be friends with other women who can keep men. I think like for example, these women shouldn't. It should be completely illegal for these women to hang out with women who can keep a man. That happened to me a couple months ago on the train. Saw an old classmate I had an issue with years ago. He was looking rough. I felt bad. Yeah, because I seen something on YouTube or something like that years ago where like this guy came across his like high school bully, and the dude was like hooked on drugs and fucked up, and the dude was like recording him and roasting him like on camera. Like that was rough, man. Like I don't think he deserves that. But yeah, like there was some like all like the cool guys, the guy plays sports. I remember one dude. Everybody has these stories, man. When I would go back, I just got done shooting a commercial, and I remember I went back to Cincinnati after shooting the commercial, and there's a common name, Brian Williams. That's a very common name. His name was Brian Williams. He's standing in front of me, looking rough. He was at Captain D's, right? And I don't even think I couldn't tell if he recognized me or not, and we ended up going to the counter together. He looked at me and just kind of immediately smiled and was like sucking up type of shit. I don't know if he really recognized me or not. I still don't know to this day if he really recognized me. But he was one of those guys, cool guy in high school, played football, started on varsity type shit. All those guys are just like I haven't heard of one story that where any of them came out doing well. Because none of them were really good at sports. They were good at sports in that area. But as soon as they went, 10 miles down the street, they were scrubs, right? But in that area, they thought they were hot shit. So and they just fucked with their heads. But yeah. Congrats, J. Rollo. Congrats on being a college grad. But yeah, let me start this video. Let me continue this from 2 days ago.
Wouldn't be around. Right. Because I understood at a young age, to your point, Elle, you can't have both at the same time.
Yeah.
Someone cannot be taking care of your lived expenses and be up in your face. Mm-hmm. So which one? A preference. Oh, am I the only one here?
No, I'm listening. No, we're listening.
We represent a preference amongst what society, and in particular, Black men have said they preferred. And yet, we represent Black women that are still paying a price and a tax for our success. Can we imagine what this conversation looks like with our darker melanated sisters? Can we imagine what this conversation looks like with our curvier sisters? So I think that this is showing to me the impetus of the crisis. Mm-hmm. We're in a crisis when it comes to Black women in romantic partnership, because to Melissa's point earlier, of course we can, and many of us do date outside of the Black race, but I'm never gonna try to convince a Black woman to want something she doesn't want.
Oh,
Right?
never,
You know what I
never,
mean?
absolutely
if you
not.
don't, if you are attracted and desirous of a black man, that's what I want for you.
All right, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
This was an amazing conversation. Melissa, Ebony, Al. We got to do a part 2, I think.
Yeah,
because-
I have to.
All right, listen to Black Woman. Thank y'all so much for watching, and make sure you check out more episodes at MadameNoir.com.
Plus, it's Kendra coming up next.
You can't see me? You see me?
You have a whole girlfriend.
What you?
A wife.
Hi,
Kendra, I follow you.
Listen, correct me. Oh, I follow you too. You're so pretty. I didn't know you guys were married. That's what I'm talking about.
We're married, but we love you so much. Oh my
I love you back.
God.
Listen, let me tell you something. Follow her page. She is a brown-skinned girl, and she be looking fly all of the time. And he over here, he a multi-millionaire. So listen, do you have some advice for the people? Because everybody wants a relationship like this. A man who got 7 figures and more and a beautiful girl. How can they get it?
I mean, she gonna have to give you the advice.
Okay, look. Okay, let me give you my advice. He'll give you his advice.
Okay.
Okay, for women, you have to be honest with yourself, right? Honest with yourself as in, who are you dating right now? What do you want? And you got to make sure you are together. You are close to what you are looking for.
Okay.
Okay?
And I'm so sorry. I didn't know you guys were married. I love that. When did you guys get married? How long you been married for?
We've been married for a few months. We got married in
Oh,
August.
okay. That's probably why I missed it. Okay. I love that. Now, from the 7-figure man, because he does pretty well if you follow him on Instagram, what do men of your caliber tend to look for when they're looking for a wife?
We love a woman that listens.
Listen.
A woman that listens and follow her. She knows the objective.
She knows the objective. Now, what's the objective? Whatever the family goal is?
Whatever the family goals is.
Ladies, date a man that you believe in. Okay? Date a man who's on the track of the life that you want to go towards. Do not date someone who is working in the kitchen and you want a man who is a mogul. Okay?
Let me ask you this. So, do you think, because a lot of women come on my show, they have money requirements, and they want a 6-figure man or more. Do you think that should be a requirement for most women?
Absolutely. Listen, men love beauty. They love a woman who has standards for herself. They love a woman who wants to be spoiled. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. Top tier men love a woman that has standards for her life. Look, my husband, he takes very great care of me because those are the things that I want. You know, you can't date someone who's doing bare minimum and you're asking him to do exceptional things. You gotta come
But the thing about it though, a lot of men can grow to that. So it's not like a lot of women wants a man who is successful, but at the end of the day, every man is successful. They just don't have clarity. So some men don't have clarity and they don't know what to do and what not to do. So because they don't have clarity, so they work a job, they can't provide. So if you're with a man because he don't have clarity, he should be motivating himself to go out there and get clarity from people who, like, you have to be a student in life. Everybody has to learn from trials and errors to become better in life. So, like, the most important thing is, like, if you're dating a man, first thing first, like she said, has to be in alignment, right? He has to know exactly what he wants. You shouldn't date a man that don't know what he wants. That's point blank, period. But a lot of men, too, don't know what they want. They may be working a 9-to-5 job and think that's acceptance, and they think like that's how life is, and it's okay. Like
okay.
There's nothing wrong with dating a guy who makes $100,000 a year. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's a person can grow and become and get more clarity and see, oh wow, there's other things in life. Because I was like that. I used to work at Costco, so it's not like I just disappeared and just became a successful person I am today. I worked a job, and then I realized that I needed better, and then I went out there and sought for better information and things to improve myself and became a better version of myself. So I think it's really like, personally, give your man a shot. Don't really look at like where he's at right now. just look at where he's growing to become and see if his motivation is there. Stick with your man, because at the end of the day, if you rocking with your man, you guys are always gonna achieve more.
Okay, yeah. See, I don't like. I mean, it's fine, but I find this whole thing of like trying to chase money. I'm not saying he's chasing money because anything could have happened, but I just don't like how society does this. My take on it is whatever your situation, know how to work with your situation. Now, sometimes that's just going to mean you're going to need more money. I get that. That part I do get. But don't do this whole, I don't want anybody to take that part as like, oh, you must be a failure because you don't have any money right now or whatever. What I'm always going to tell you is look at your situation and know what to do with your situation and take advice and pointers with your situation. And money, look, money may or may not actually really help or hurt you in the reality of it, right? Because I know, okay, just as quick, let's say like this guy right here, right? Like, yeah, he can sit up and say, yeah, this is, he has to know what he wants, blah, 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 blah. And, okay, no, so first off, I want to, now, okay, I get it. He was probably in a club or, he's not sitting down in like in a direct conversation to thoroughly explain himself. But I think these statements can be these are kind of like these really loose fitting generic statements that just get people to say, oh yeah, he's right. and it's these type of statements is why I made my YouTube channel, was to thoroughly dive into these statements of the man has to know what he wants, right? Now, saying a man has to know what he wants, while one person can say, oh well, knowing what I want a woman who wears red dresses and purple shoes and and has a slight Southern accent, and no other woman do I want in life. And another man, know what he wants can mean, oh, I have to make a lot of money, blah 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 blah. And another man, he know what he wants. Oh, I want to become a race car driver, right? But when that a man has to know what he wants gets tied into money, then it's like, okay, how do you essentially just become relatively rich for a woman? Right. Now, again, the perspective that I've always been about putting out there. Because, see, here's the thing. Just as fast as he knew what he wanted and got a job, well, that job can know what it wants and gets rid of him. So what is this man really going to have left after all that? Right. And so one area that I always want to stress is that, yeah, on one instance, yeah, there is strategy and planning, but at the end of the day, it's going to be luck, dude. At the end of the day, the job that this man has right now, okay, theoretically speaking, he says he has 7 figures or whatever, right? See, just as fast as somebody can be in a 7-figure job, they can lose a 7-figure job, right? If you have $7 million, well, there's a $7 million and $5 problem waiting on you. Right. So is this reality that none of us are really in control of this shit, right? Nobody's really. I mean, of course, yeah, there's strategy, there's planning, but just see, especially with something like this, again, the job, just as fast as what I want to make clear to everybody out there is do not use that job and that money as a complete reliance on your swagger to get pussy. Right now, it definitely will help to get pussy. But do not rely on that shit. I'm not saying he's relying on it, but I think what happens in the world of social media is that people kind of turn them. They can misinterpret it completely into ending up relying on that, the job and the money. And those two things are relatively out of your control, right? Because like I said, just as quick as you can have $7 billion, there's a $7 billion and $10 problem waiting on you. Right? You can get to $7 trillion. Guess what? There's a $7 trillion and $5 problem waiting on you. Right? So that's not gonna save you. It can give you some peace of mind, and better hopes for the future. But that's not gonna there's no guarantee that's gonna save you, and nobody can disagree with me on that. That's a fact. right? So the last thing I want anybody to take from this is money has to get you a woman in this context, right? And if money doesn't get you a woman, then you're worthless, you're useless, blah blah blah. You don't know what you want, you're uncivilized, you're unprepared, all that shit. No, no, throw that out. Throw it out. I I think what's happening with the money scenario and getting pussy nowadays, I think it's turned into the education system. I think it's turned into the education system in men's minds. Um, um, the main direct purpose is getting lost, and everybody's just essentially trying to cheat their way. Just like the education system is literally just the children aren't really learning anything. They're just learning how to cheat the teacher into getting an A kind of thing. They're not really actually learning anything. And I got that from actually a YouTube watcher. He gives me books every time I meet him, and he gave me his one book written by John Holt, and he goes into that how the education system, very few kids are genuinely learning anything. Kids are just learning how to cheat the teacher. When they get a homework assignment from the teacher, the first thought is, how do I cheat the teacher, get through this easier, and trick them into giving me an A, versus actually reading the shit and studying it and having some knowledge out of it, right? That's the reality and I agree with him 1,000%. And I think that's what's happening with men now and with women. I think that everything's been pushed to directly just money, right? No sense of real character, integrity, personal passions and hobbies. It's just chasing pussy and doing what you can to get pussy, right? On a whole, right? And that's not to say women don't like money. Women always are going to go after the bigger, better provider and all of it. And part of this surge of it is, I think, from social media and all this. So maybe my view on it is going to be outdated because I remember before this time period happened. But um, um, I'm always going to tell you to look at your situation, your finances, whatever, and work alongside with that, right? Because just as quick as you can find, a dude making 35,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck, barely making it, and he's living on his own, you can just as fast find a dude who's making 350,000 a year and living paycheck to paycheck with nothing to his name, struggling to get by because he's bad with money, right? Or just as fast as you find that, you could find a dude who makes 7 million a year and fucks around and loses the job because he got caught up in some type of case, and he got barred from ever going back to do his profession again. Now what? Right? So my thing is no matter what you do in life, look at your situation and make it work as well as it can for you for as long as it can. And when that ride is over, it's over. And move on to something. I think that's what I got this from being in a homeless shelter, from kind of just listening to people's stories when I would live in a homeless shelter, right? Listening and seeing where all different types of people coming in there into the homeless shelter. I think that's another thing that kind of pushed me to. So when I got my degrees, they're all in completely different areas, completely different, very little to do with each other. very, very little to actually do with each other. Now, the one I have the most certificates and qualifications in is in the mental health field, but I just had to get like 4 or 5 more. Dude, if I were to rattle off all my certifications and shit, it would just be like pages. I don't even know what I have anymore, because when you go to universities and shit like that, you end up in so many circles where you got to do this certification, that certification, this and that. I don't even know anymore. I just got like 4 or 5 of them in the state of Florida, because I got to go to Florida soon. And I had to do like 4 or 5. I still got 1 more to do down there. So when it comes to certifications, degrees, I don't even. It's all used. To me, it's all pointless at this point. It's useless in my opinion. But the point I'm trying to make is again, look at your situation. There's guys who are making 50,000 a year and are living the life they want to live, and there's guys who's making 250,000 a year and don't know where their money going at every month. After they, lease some car, bought some house they can't afford, and going on ridiculous vacations. Yeah, 5 minutes after that job is gone, all that shit's gone, dude. all of it'll be gone, right? So again, my thing is, know your situation, know what you're dealing with, and move on. I see that mainly with American males relying on money to get girls. Yeah, because honestly, yeah, and not a black man in the U.S. It makes more sense that it would be more Americans that are that are relying on this, because in America, since the majority of North Americans have to drive everywhere they go, and on top of that, shopping malls, pretty much all shopping malls in North America have become deserts because Amazon just took over, um, or any online shopping is just dominated. So going to a shopping mall, going to a strip mall, going to clubs, all these things became the rarity, right? All these things have shut down in North America from what I remember. Because I remember Forest Fair Mall. You could look up Forest Fair. Actually, Forest Fair Mall they actually have a YouTube. Somebody went in Forest Fair Mall on YouTube. Let's do it's what they renamed it, Cincinnati Mills. Yeah, Cincinnati Mills Mall. I remember this mall very clearly. This mall used to be the shit. So, okay, real quick. You see that in the screenshot right there? When I was a kid, hang on, let me scroll down right here. When I was a kid, right, this mall this is just one little section of the mall. It was a big mall. And this mall, right in this area, there was a Ferris wheel. It used to be a Ferris wheel. It was a big one too, right here. And off to the right, I remember where all the gaming cabinets used to be. This mall had the best arcade. I swear to God, it had to be one of the best arcades on earth at that time. It was any game you could think of was in there. And it was just all in other rooms. It was a merry-go-round. I never rode the merry-go-round in there, actually. Actually, I took my son on a merry-go-round here. That was the first time I ever rode a merry-go-round was with my son in Prague. Because I never went on a merry-go-round in this mall because they had too many video games I wanted to play. They had Virtua On. They had all these types of it was just amazing, man. And the fucking malls in America are just ghost towns. Let's see if they copyright it, because I remember this mall, but it's just abandoned. These malls are just gone. This is where I'm from. Well, I'm not from. This area is Forest Park, and they renamed it Cincinnati Mills, but it used to be called. It was the shit when it was called Forest Fair. And these malls are just abandoned, dude. I've walked down, and there's just nothing there anymore. So the fact that these shops, and I try to tell my girl, this is what malls look like in North America now, because over here, they don't have this going on, at least in Prague. They don't have this at all. The malls here are filled door to door with stores here. They have no concept of this, right? But in America, these places are gone. They're just ghost towns now. So when you shut down all the malls, all the clubs, most of the clubs, these types of places where people could actually go and meet. On top of that, in America, you have to drive everywhere you go. So that's separating even more from the population of people you can see, right? Men just don't have a good chance at even coming around a woman anymore. At all, right? So what option do men really have to work with? They got to start sending bitches money on Cashapp and shit like that to get an ounce of attention, because there's no place to go in North America anymore, unless you get a job and it's a cute bitch that works there. Outside of that, there's not many places where people can go to genuinely see anybody. I remember when all this was open. Well, the mall was really at shit because they had remodeled the mall. The mall, this part of the mall was shit by the time it looked like this. It was still going empty, but I remember all this shit, man. They making videos. Somebody else made a video about it. Yeah, they actually got the right name, Forest Fair Mall. It's just dead, man. There's nothing you can do. That was actually open last time I went. This little kids area, this was open last time I was there. Let's go up a little bit. It's just empty shit. It's just nothing there anymore. And this mall was amazing back in the day, man. Amazing. This was the mall. The Forest Fair was the mall back in the day. Tri-County was like a close second, and Northgate Mall, where I'm from, was always the worst one. It wasn't a bad mall, but it was always the worst one out the three. But yeah, man, there's nowhere for American men to go. So like, so all they're really left with now at any point is just trying to buy a bitch. Like, you mean like just they don't have any other option there. There's just nowhere. There's not many places where you can genuinely go and just meet and approach. So what that did was it made everybody more socially awkward, the men and the women. So now in America, even if you walk up and approach a woman, the fact that everybody's now socially awkward, the man's okay. In order for the woman to even waste time trying to gain an ounce of character and get over her own, her fears of being socially awkward, that man's got to walk up and be top 10, or he's got to be in the top 1%, or she ain't, it's not worth her risking being socially awkward. right so when the American men come out here, they end up awkward. They end up like, really, I can see it in them, like, because I've worked it out of me, because I've been out here long enough, back in relatively speaking normalcy. But when I see Western men come out here, like, from like, Canada, North America, I could see like all the awkwardness that I probably had when I first came out here. I could see it in them, right? I'm not mad at them or like fault them for it or anything, but I can see it. It's definitely a sense of awkwardness there for sure. Man, here in Europe, malls have an expiration date, and compared to food, it compares to bread. Man, here in Europe, malls have an expiration date. Yeah, in Prague, the malls out here are still filled. All these malls out here still filled, door to door. I don't think there's many places where, if they're closed, it's because they're getting ready to put something else there, where I am. But in in America, they're just gone. We just don't have it.
Listen, I agree with that, but as a woman, you never date potential. If you date potential, you're always going to end up in the place you're not going to want to be in, okay? You can't date a man who's trying to be on his way. You got to date a man, yes, he's where he's at. You have to be okay with where he's at forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not potential. Well,
don't date a man expecting him to be something astronomical, right? Where he's at, if you're comfortable with living like that forever, yes, then you date
But you might not be. The thing about it, though, a lot of women may have a man that just works at Costco, and their success level.
You better stay successful, because if you start working at Costco, I don't know if you're gonna have your wife.
Exactly, he's not working
Well, she
at
just
Costco.
called it out.
I'm not working at Costco, but the thing about it is, like, everybody has a progression in life.
That's
Everybody
true.
grows, you know?
That's true. Everybody doesn't have a progression. You're very, you are an exception to the rule. Your success, the amount of money you had. Like, even when you talked about 100K, you said it like it was $10. Like, I made that before. Well, to some people, 100K for average people is like their highest income, right? And I can be proud of that. So I think that very proud of your success. You worked hard on it. I'm gonna let you guys shout out your pages before you go. But let me ask about this. Your wife is drop dead gorgeous. Like, she's gorgeous. How important is beauty? Because this is what men are telling me all the time, that beauty and I guess youth is very important to men that make a lot of money.
It is very important. He has an image that he has to keep up in the public. Okay, first of all, my man is very attractive. He is very handsome. You know what I'm saying? And he's also in the limelight a lot. So I obviously have to keep up and, compliment that, which is, and I see in the comments, people are like, oh, well, you guys just got married. Listen, I'm not saying we're experts, okay? I'm not an expert. He's not an expert at marriage. We're not experts at relationships, but this is what we did, and this worked for us. We got married. We started dating, engaged in 3 months, married in 6 months. And we're here very young. You guys
dated for 3 months?
We dated for 3 months, married in 6.
You wasn't playing no games.
Oh, I was not playing no games, and neither was he, actually. Because
everybody has a stage in life that you have to get to know what you want.
You have to know what you want. That's true. And listen, people are like, oh, they don't agree. Next week. Listen, we're both human. We're not gonna agree on every single thing, and that's human. For you to think that two people coming together means they're gonna agree on every single thing, that's kind of flawed. You know, you have to give people room to be their individual self. And for the people saying move on, I want to see your rings. I want to tag your husband and your wife in the comments.
Child, okay, she about to go off on y'all. Let's do it. You chose to fight. So listen, this proves that men do choose women that know how to speak, because you can tell your wife is not gonna bite her tongue at any given moment. Let's do this. I follow them both. They're awesome individuals. Shout out to your Instagram page.
I see Iman.
So I'm Aussie_Iman, and this is Boniface Abunti. You can follow us both on Instagram.
All right, where are you? Where are you guys right now?
We actually out. We're on a date night. We love you so
America?
much.
I know you guys travel the world.
We do travel a lot, but we're just having a date night, and we just kind of wanted to join your life. Literally, we're out at an African little Legos right now in Atlanta, and we just be in all those spots, and we just having a good little date night. For people saying there's music in the background, don't hate, okay? Appreciate the things that you want, and it will come into your life, okay? Don't be a hater.
A preference.
Yo, what's up, Roderick? Check email for creation. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll check that in a bit. Yeah. What's this? I don't know if I got too much patience for any more Kendra, man. I'll try. But I don't know if I got too much patience to hear her voice.
How do you pronounce your name?
You know that anybody ever see that when Michael Jackson was sitting with some woman and and he's like talking and the woman just starts yelling and Michael Jackson goes, "Oh wow, your voice is really irritating." He just flat out says it to the woman. Let me see if I can find this shit. Let me see if I can find it. He tells a woman her voice is really irritating. Voice. It was this. This is it. Oh shit, hang on. Listen.
Indians. I think they're really beautiful, and the darker they are, the more beautiful.
Bill, excuse me. Can you close that door?
Your voice is very irritating.
I know, I hate this screen.
You sound like Carol Burnett.
Can you close that door, Bill, please?
That's how I feel about Kendra right now. Not bad at her, I just don't feel like listening to her voice. It's very irritating. But yeah. Yeah, married after 3 months. Yeah, that's yeah. Nancy, I was thinking the same thing. Married after 3 months, man. You don't marry a woman after 3 months. You don't marry anybody. Nobody should get married after you get married after 3 months when you be like fucking 19. You know what I mean? Like that's when you get married after, or unless you needed some type of like work visa or something like that. I think I got married in like 3 months, but I did it because I needed a visa. That's about the only way, for a business contract reason you get married. But outside of that, if you don't need a visa or something, or you're not just 19, yeah, no, that's not a smart move at all. But she probably just seen he had money. And coincidentally we didn't hear anything about what she did, how much money she earns at all. Yeah, it sounds like she really didn't have a whole lot going for herself to even to think that was a good idea at all. She probably just seen a bank account or something like that, and that's all it took. And he was just probably like, thirsty, fucked up, as a typical, man in a Western area is, and just bit on it. She looked, she was just skinny, had some type of figure, a little bit of makeup, wasn't fat, didn't smell bad. So yeah, sure. Let's start this.
Yannick. Oh, is that your dog?
Yes, one of two.
Oh, one of two. Yannick is how you say it. Yannick.
That's correct.
Yannick, where you calling me from, love?
I'm on the east side of Atlanta in a suburb called Conyers.
Connors. Is that
Conyers,
is that
Georgia.
Connors, Georgia?
Yes.
Are you sitting in a queen's throne?
I'm at my dining room. It has the best lights, so.
Yes. No, I love your setup. I appreciate it. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. So Yannick, Connors, Georgia, how old are you, love?
I am 54 years young.
Oh, you look really good. Okay,
Thank
54. What do you do for a living?
I'm in law enforcement.
Oh, so you're a police officer?
I am a police lieutenant
Police lieutenant.
on the
Do you have
federal
any
side.
children?
I
Say
do not.
again?
On the federal side.
On the
You know,
federal.
you know what? I've never known a woman to be in law enforcement and keep a man. In my family friends, girls I went to high school with. I'm thinking of one right now. She went off and became a cop. She actually got her bachelor's degree before she became a cop, and can't keep a man. I've never known. I got a cousin who did it. I've never known a woman who's ever touched anywhere near security and law enforcement and can keep a man. I can't say I've known one.
Federal side. Ooh, child. Come correct, baby. Don't be on no papers and don't have no warrants.
Yes.
Do you have any children?
No, I do not.
Oh yeah, that's.
Ever been married?
No.
No. And
Yeah,
what's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Pisces.
So we got Yannick, Connors, Georgia, 54.
And here's the thing. See, like, I've never known a woman to be anywhere near law enforcement that's worked in any form of law enforcement to keep a man. I'm sure some exist. I've never known of one. Like I said, at a family, friends of family, friends who knew somebody who was in the military. Any woman who got anywhere near law enforcement on pretty much any level just struggles with keeping men. Whether she's a judge, she's an attorney. Well, what's the name? The Ebony girl. She's an attorney. Any woman who gets anywhere near law or law enforcement usually struggles to keep a man. Keep a man. It fucks with their heads. From my history of it, I cannot think of one who can consistently keep a man. Or if she did, it was clear that she had to learn her lesson and you know what I mean and shut the fuck up to keep a man type of thing, right? I'm trying to think. Do I even know one? Because the reality of it is when she goes and when a woman hits up these worlds like that, well, like it's just that thing like men in uniform can have options because as long as a man is in a uniform, like yeah, like there's a certain echelon of woman who will look down on a man who's a police officer, a man who's in the military. There's an echelon of women who just wouldn't even touch that. But there's a large part of the population who will always fuck with a man like that, no matter how many kids he has, anything, because that man is always hope. Okay, as long as a man, and this was done historically for this reason. As long as a man is in a uniform, that has always signaled. I think back to right after medieval times, right after that time period, when incest had kind of gone up in the richer families, that was one of the reasonings as to why they would always pay public servants more, so they can diffuse that so they could diffuse the incest shit. Because without that happening, and it was just that feudal shit where it was just like a rich family and everybody else was just poor. Well, incest rates are just going up within their families. The daughters was fucking fathers, fucking brothers, fucking uncles. Because the daughter's not gonna go out there to that slum and fuck Roy with one shoe, right? She ain't woman. She's never gonna intentionally go do that. So one way to help with that was they governments employ paying public servants more. One, for that reason, and two, to help with corruption. Because once they became public servants, now they're gonna know everything and they're gonna become more corrupt because they're gonna know shit and they got their own cliques. right? So what they do to curve both of those things simultaneously was to pay them more. So that's why now, whenever you hear government job, whenever you hear the word government job, state job, you already know you're going to get paid more and you're going to get some better benefits for that. That's why. That's where that comes from. Right? Now, where it kind of worked out in a negative way is for women in these positions who get these state and government jobs. See, any man who walks in the room with a state or a government job, to many female circles, that's just as good as being a millionaire to many women's circles. Because if you say you work for the state or for the government, that is a sense of permanence now. You may not be a billionaire, but that's a sense of at least some type of permanence you can always kind of go back to and fuck with in some kind of way, right? You got friends in there you can fuck with. And maybe not everybody has this, but you can have friends in there and go fuck with. So that's why, like, you know, especially in countries like the U.S., where when you say military, something like that, oh, there's a huge population of women who are ready to suck your cock just because of that. When I was going to Sinclair, a friend of mine's girlfriend, was hanging out with this girl. And this is when I came back from the military, and they found out that and the girl was terrible until she found out that I went to the Marines, and immediately changed her whole attitude. Because these are lower, let's just be honest about it, these are lower quality women. In this area of Ohio, these are just lower quality women. So like military, immediately, they're going to look up to that. Right? Now, the hard part is when a woman goes in there to these jobs, see, she feels the same way, but on the same instance, she can't fight off the other women who are going to want these men. Because see, for every man who's working a government job making 40K a year, right? There's a woman out there making 25K a year and has no sense of permanence in the world, and she would cherish that. Making 40K a year, she might be making 50K a year, but that state worker, that government worker, has benefits that's gonna beat hers in many cases. So the woman can look up to that permanence and be like, yeah, I could fuck with Roy, the police officer. And he's in uniform. So that means he has a clique somewhere. So that means he has a group of friends and family in this shit. So he has connections in this. Yeah, I'll fuck with Roy, the police officer. There's a lot of women who would do that. And that leaves her in a rough position, right? Because now where does she really go? Where does she really go? Because now she at this point she can't really play the feminine role because she's in law. Because in these professions she can't really play the feminine hussy role because now she's adopted too many masculine traits through training or through law school or through being an attorney. She's going to have a far harder time being taken serious in her field if she's this feminine hussy. So now she has to develop these masculine characteristics like Ebony. Ebony, I think she's a good-looking woman. What's it? Ebony, what's her name? Where we at? 1 minute 24. Let's go back to Ebony. Ebony's in the same position. Ebony, where's the woman? She's in the same boat. She's
microaggression.
She's a pretty woman. Nobody would say that she is not an attractive woman. She is an attractive woman. But again, it's that law firm, anywhere near law or law enforcement, I have never known one woman to completely successfully accomplish her profession and being a wife. I've never known one. It's a conflict of interest. It's a conflict. It's just a conflict of interest.
How do you pronounce her name?
I'm interested in someone that I can be best friends with. We can pray together. We can have fun together. We both would be established in our careers at this point in our lives. And, just someone who's looking for a courtship, ultimately marriage.
Okay. Now, did you always want to...
Their marriage. Why? I didn't even want to stop it that quick. But marriage, dude. Marriage. You're 54. Marriage. I be having to check my girl on this, man, because... Like, look, with this whole, this women never, this fairy tale bullshit. Why? If anything, it's more annoying to hear a 54-year-old woman talk about marriage. I don't care what she looks like. It sounds like at this point it sounds like a chase for some bullshit 16-year-old. We're gonna go elope. You are 54. It's done. Let it go. Why marriage? Why at 54? Why? Why? What reason is truly there for you to want to be married at 54? Right? To be walking around talking about marriage at 44, is talking about marriage at 44. This is living in some stuck fairy tale that's at her age 30 years too late, never got it. And it just sounds like to hear the words marriage come out of a woman 40 and up, and I really should subtract more years, but let's just say 40 and up. To hear the word marriage come out of a woman's mouth who is let's just say 40 and up, to me sounds like that sounds like, it just sounds immature. It sounds immature. It would be like hearing a 30-year-old man saying he's working to get to the NBA. I would use that compare. A woman who was going on 40 talking about marriage would be the same thing. It's just as awkward and ridiculous as a motherfucker who's 40, a 40-year-old man talking about going to the NBA or going to the NFL. You missed it. You missed that whole, look, that age, that time frame is gone. You missed it, dude. That was when you were 16, 17 talking about that. Right? Getting married as a woman, that was you about 30 years too late for that. 54, you 30 years too late for that. It's done. You just missed that whole boat. Just accept it. There's no reason, and she might be a good person to hang out with. I'm not bashing her on that level at all, but I just think it's severely immature for a woman of her age to even say the word marriage out loud. It just comes off as immature. There's no reason to marry her. I don't have to know her. There's no reason. There's no reason to marry an older woman at all. Barely a reason to stay with her unless you just want a companion, right? Outside of sex, and if you two can just happen to get along enough, well enough. But to marriage? Marriage. For what? Why? This is out. You just missed the whole boat. You just missed it. Like what Patrice O'Neal said, like there's a part of your life, you just missed it. You just missed it. As a woman, now a 54-year-old man can do that. A 54-year-old man can go out there and do that. A 54-year-old, there's no reason for a 54-year-old woman to get married. There's none. The only reason there was in the beginning was because they'll be youthful, pretty, and can give you kids and a family. That's literally it. After that, there's no reason to marry an older woman. It's over. Give it up. Like your dreams of going to the NFL at 35. Like, dude, like give it up, dude. Like your body just ain't gonna work no more like that. Unless you're a rare individual, your body just is not gonna work like that anymore. It's done. You missed it. you just missed the boat. Right? At least a dude who's like 35 going to the NFL never made it. Well, at least he can go off and become like a training coach for like high school or college or something. You know what I mean? At least he can go out there and legitimately teach other people to get better at football. Whereas like a 54-year-old woman can't, okay, logically speaking, she can't go out there and give people advice on how to get married. Right? Whereas like a football player could go out there and give advice on football after he missed his boat of going to the NBA or NFL, right? A 35, 40-year-old man can go back out there and be like, yeah, you need to dribble a little faster. You need to fix your form. A 35, 40-year-old woman cannot go back out after she missed her boat. Go back out, yeah, you need to do this for your man and all this, like, because she's clear she don't know what to do because she never got it. On top of being a woman, which was the easiest position in the game to do it with, right? She was already playing the game on easy mode and still couldn't do that. Right? So it's more embarrassing at that point. Now, for a man, it's not embarrassing for a man at all, because it's hard for men out here. It's hard for men to find a woman, for the most silliest of reasons, because your middle name be Derek. She don't like you no more. Or because she didn't like the way your shoes look with your pants. Yeah, she's annoyed now. She left you on red. It's not embarrassing for men to end up single and alone, but for women, it's embarrassing because, again, she's playing the game on easy mode. She's a woman. She has pussy. All she has to do is stand up somewhere, shut the fuck up, and smile, and somebody's gonna come up and approach her. If a man had it half as easy as a woman, he'd think he died and went to heaven. There's 40-year-old women out here still talking about starting a family. Yeah. You just miss that boat, dude. Who said General Electric? Yeah, they just missed the boat. It's the woman's version of, because women try to make fun of dudes saying dudes have midlife crisis. That is the woman's midlife crisis starts at 35, and she never leaves it after that. It's there forever. I mean, like, a woman's midlife crisis starts at 35 for the rest of life. It's done. She's missed the boat. It's over.
Get married, or is it something you're just focusing on now?
I would say I've always wanted to get married, but just never kind of met the right person at the right time. I came close once.
Came close. That means you were engaged before?
I like her too.
I was proposed to, yes. My last relationship.
So were you guys engaged?
We were not engaged, but we kind of were working towards getting towards an engagement. I was asked to go to look for the ring.
Because you said you were close to getting married once.
Well, close to being engaged.
So you were close to being engaged once?
Yes.
Okay. What are your deal breakers?
My deal breakers would be someone who's not interested, in a courtship, interested in ultimately a relationship. I'm not looking to get married upon meeting someone, but at, some point in time, in our courtship, that it would lead to marriage. So if you're not interested in that, that would be a deal breaker. Someone who's dealing with any type of legalities, whether it be, drugs, even to the point of marijuana. My integrity is pretty high, so I'm both loyal and honest, and so if you're not living right, I won't be a good fit for you.
I'm gonna smoke some tonight.
And and also, I'm like 5'9", in flat shoes, so I prefer a man at least 5'10", or taller. As you get older, some things should come off the list, and that one's been a hard one to kind of work with.
That's the height, because you're tall.
I am.
Okay. I want to ask you about this, because you mentioned courtship a couple of times. So,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I do like her directness. I like how she speaks. I do. I really do. She's direct. She's there. She seems to be, relatively intelligent. I personally like that part about her. I like how she's 54, but I like how she looks. If I had seen her when she was younger, this is one of the few black women I would probably genuinely be interested in talking to. If she would, be interested in me, I would have liked her, yeah.
What does it look like to you?
Well, courtship to me is, getting to the point. I don't expect in meeting someone, because, when you first meet someone, I don't expect for you to, most men to have their hand twiddling their fingers. They may already have some women that they may be interested in, but as they get to know me, if I am someone that they're really interested in, focusing their attention on, we could, ideally be in a monogamous relationship to, as we get to know each other. So a courtship to me would be, someone we're both serious in getting to know each other, one-on-one, and eventually, decide to lead to a marriage.
See, okay, and let me throw this out there too. See, there's other parts about this that are super awkward. See, the fact that she can never keep a man is rough. And me and my girl, we had issues. Well, I have issues with it. I never really talked to her about it because she never really sat down with a man before. So since I'm pretty much like her first boyfriend type of thing, right? Like I'm the first one who was real like a boy. Like, she's like I'm just the complete leader in our relationship, right? Because she has no real experience. She's never been married, none of that, right? So but here's the thing, like as the man who's leading her, like it definitely gets frustrating sometimes because she just has no sense of of a work history with this. So and here's the thing, how it gets even more awkward as women get older. So it's like on one hand, you don't want a woman with kids because now you got to deal with the baby daddy. The kid may not like you, or kids may not like you. You know, it's all these personalities to keep up with, and all you really want is just some pussy, right? So she's gonna be a headache for that. But then if she doesn't have kids, and you know, and she hasn't been out there like crazy, which you can tell once you be with her for a while. Well, she has no fucking experience, dude, like none. So it's like it becomes frustrating to always have to pretty much entertain her and lead her in some kind of way, even when you're not talking, right? So it's like, so she said this woman ended up 54 like that. Could you imagine having to keep a conversation going for months with a 54-year-old woman who has no experience? How awkward, and all these misplaced senses of requirements and all this shit, because she's never actually made it to be married or made it to have a family or made it to have kids, and how awkward she's gonna be and all this towards a man who's already done all this shit. Like she's she's probably she'll be nice. I can tell you right now, I would probably rather be with a woman who has kids before I be with a woman like her. Knowing what I know now, I would rather have to converse with a woman who has children instead of a woman who made it to 54 and never had any kids, never had a family, never had kids, none of that. I would say that, knowing what I know now after having my own son and noticing how I, talk to people who have kids versus don't have kids, and I hear some things that people say now, and it's hitting me different. Knowing what I know now, if I had to speak to a woman and I had to choose, if she had kids, okay, I would choose a 20-year-old. Okay, if she's younger, I would prefer her to not have kids. If she's older, then I would prefer her to have kids. Because they just start getting super awkward. Super awkward. Again, I think she's a good looking woman, right? And I like how she speaks and all that. But dude, could you really imagine, for anybody out there who has kids, could you really imagine having to carry daily communications with a woman who's had absolutely zero experience in getting past the bullshit phase, right? Where you can hear each other sick in the other room, or somebody's going through a mental breakdown or some shit like that, right? Where it's like it's reality now. You're not like, oh hi, boop, I just burped, excuse me, like you're like farting around each other, burping around. Well, I can't burp, but my girl, she can burp, but I can't burp. Because could you she's never made it to any of that shit with a man, like to real shit. You know what I mean? At her age now, knowing what I know now, I would prefer a woman of her age to have kids if I were to talk to a woman of her age. Now, if she was younger, I prefer not have kids.
Okay. Did I ask you your deal breakers?
Yes.
Okay. Does the man have to look a certain way?
Well, I would prefer for him to be, tall, groomed. Let's see here. I prefer a black man. That's the only, type of man I may be more so open again. Because sometimes, more so now I've noticed that they don't have to be like, let's just say they don't have to more so be so fine or so cute. I'm more so about characteristics and, clean cut. the way they present themselves, the way they carry themselves, the characteristics is what I'm attracted to.
Okay. Now, what about money? Do you got to make a certain amount of money?
Well, he needs to be, kind of confident. I do pretty decent for myself. So I would say probably about 50 starting out.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, should he be in Conyers, Georgia as well?
Conyers is a small suburb. I'm like 30 minutes. I work in Atlanta. Just drive out in the suburbs where I decide to reside and live. But anywhere, in the state of Georgia, actually.
Okay. Now, you don't have any children. Are you okay if he has kids?
No.
No. He can't have kids?
They would probably need to be grown or, pretty much, older kids.
Well, I'm not
So
about that.
as far as young kids, that would probably be a deal breaker. That would probably go on my deal breaker list. Definitely someone with kids under the age of probably 13 would be a deal breaker.
Okay. So no children under the age of 13.
All right.
Do the amount of kids matter to you?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. There are a lot of men out there with no kids. So if I could meet one that don't have any kids and don't want any, because that time has passed for me, that would be ideal for me. It would probably be a case by case situation.
Okay. What is the age range you want to date?
I would probably consider maybe as young as 45, 48, depending, up to about 62.
Okay.
Idealistically, I would love to have someone around the 50-ish.
Say one more time, honey.
I said preferably around 50.
Around 50. Okay. All right, let's do the Kendra Cam. They want to see this, your table set. They said she got a table set, child. Can we do the Kendra cribs too? Like, you got a nice house. We can do the Kendra cribs. So this is a table set. Is it always like that?
Yes, this is my dining room, so it's just kind of,
Scherzinger
the
shit,
presentation.
You already ready for him to play.
That's that Nicole Scherzinger shit, man. I'm telling you. That's that Nicole Ebony, whatever her name is. That Ebony, Melissa Ford, they all need to just get a house together.
Yes, ma'am. Let me see here.
Okay. Table set. Oh, you look good.
Yeah, work out.
Well, she is a police lieutenant. Okay. You look good.
Thank you.
So we got Yannick, correct?
Yes.
Yannick, Connors, Georgia, 54, Pisces, police lieutenant, no kids, never married. When was your last relationship?
3.5 years ago.
Okay. You don't have to answer, but I'm going to ask. When's the last time you was intimate with someone?
It's been quite some time.
Okay. 3 flaws you have to work on when it comes to a relationship.
Well, one of the things that I've been already working on was work-life balance. I've been known to kind of work a lot, very much so, because I have my day job and then I also have a little something else that I do, so that's something that I've been wanting to work on. I can be a little stoic, and it might be because of, a little bit of my military background, as well as the type of line of work where I can endure pain and you won't see that type of emotion, which means that I can be very dismissive because you wouldn't know if my feelings is hurt, not being able to look at me and see that. So that's something that I probably can work on a little bit, maybe having a little bit more empathy. And honestly, believe it or not, I can be a little competitive. I was told, when I play sports or activities with a man, I shouldn't beat them so bad. And I'm not trying to be funny, but sometimes their feelings, their egos get crushed a little bit. So,
what sports you play?
Here's the thing, like I like her, man. Here's the thing, like I honestly like her. But at the same time, again, like knowing what I know now, like with my spouse, and I see her with my son, and she's a mother type dude. Like my spouse is a mother, dude. And I think that's probably why I liked her so much in the beginning, because maybe it's like my mommy issues from my mom dying kind of thing. And I got that in my spouse, in Esmeralda, Lucy, Sarah, whatever you want to call her, right? I get it. I get that out of her. So like I see, like knowing what I know now, man, like she's just like a mother, dude. Like. And like she puts my son and me first before herself, right? Out of my spouse, and knowing what I know now, and watching her with my son, now I can see all these little like just missteps that her development took. You know what I mean? Like it's like the little signs that I could tell, like I can tell that I like this woman, but there's not a motherly part to her unless I can get her to fully submit on like a feminine level to me. Like I mean, like I would have to make her like squirt the hardest she's ever squirt and like shock. I mean, completely shock her in other ways to get her underneath me, kind of thing, right? But if you don't get her in that, like I said, was it 2 nights ago? Was it Melissa Ford and Ebony? The only way that you would get any true growth out of a woman who ends up like this, something completely abnormal would have to happen. As long as she can still be comfortable in her own skin, she's never going to grow. She's going to live the rest of her life out as a glorified college student. She's living her life out as a glorified college student. She has nobody in her life that needs her, who's hoping that she's gonna be somewhere for them. None of that. She's waking up to see what kind of new chair she can buy to fill that hole that's never gonna be filled from having a family and having somebody that you know what I mean. Like I said last night, with Ebony and with Melissa Ford, the only thing that's gonna save them, something awful's got to happen, or something like weirdly amazing has got to happen. Something that's gonna just completely snatch them out of their comfort zone, out of their life. Like the best thing for a woman like this would be a pimp to walk up to her and slap her across the fucking face, and be like, "Fuck your military background, fuck your fucking job." And if she got a college degree, go get the degree and spit on that shit in front of her. I don't give a fuck about that. And she'll be mad at first because she spent so long identifying herself with that. But if the guy stays around long enough, she's going to fall in love with him. And hard. Right? The best thing for Melissa Ford, for the Ebony girl, for her would be for a gangster ass dude to walk right up to her face, stare her right in the fucking eyes, and just bop, and just stare at her. I mean, to put that masculinity back on top of her again, just stare at her, smack her in the sense like don't kill her, but it's like smack her in the sense of like so she knows you can kill her, and just stare at her. Just one of them Samuel Jacksons, one of them. That would be the best thing for these types of women. These women they need a pimp in their life. They need a man in their life to check them. Because if not, she's gonna keep on living her look. She's gonna keep living her same old life. Nothing's gonna change because she thinks she knows everything. And like with Melissa Ford and the Emily girl, they think they know everything. You can't tell them nothing. They already know what men want. They know what they want. But they still sitting up alone looking at what type of chairs they can buy. And they gonna die alone with an expensive pair of shoes next to their bed. I don't mean this to be like hurtful to them or anything. It's just there's no like, because I like her. I think she's educated. I think I like how she talks. I just like the cadence. Is that the right word? The cadence, the alertness, the awareness. I would love to hang out with her, but I could tell it wouldn't go anywhere. Especially now that I've seen my son's mom, be a woman and be a mother. Now I can quickly spot the areas that are just wrong on a feeling level. Like I think now before I had a child, I probably wouldn't be able to see it and feel it, but now I can. Now I can. Because she does have a bit of femininity mixed in there somewhere, but I can sense the areas I can feel it be too a bit. Because see, with Kendra, I think Kendra is better than I think. I got a good feeling about Kendra. In order to have to like really sit down with her, kind of thing. I think if I were to sit down with Kendra, I think we could be cool. We could be probably be pretty. Even the woman in the green, she's probably cool too. But what I'm trying to say is I do have a better feeling about Kendra It's still not a permanent good feeling, but I have a better feeling about Kendra than I do with the woman in the green. Because you never know which woman's going to be horrible. You just never know. There's no way to truly tell unless you just get into it. So I'm not trying to say like Kendra would be like, I do have a better feeling for Kendra. I think, because it's her show. She's got to deal with it, and all that. So she's got to put on a persona. But it's the little things. It's all the little things I can see that, yeah, the woman in green, that's a waste of time. Unless you just want somebody to travel with. Something like that. That's nothing, but that's a waste of time. Because no matter what you're going to do, look, like I said, the best thing, in my, for women who think they on top of shit and all that, the best thing for them would be to have a man to come and just smack them in the fucking face. Because that's about the only way you're going to, okay, in my opinion, that's, okay, the amount of time it would take to wear them down and be indecent in any kind of way, it's just not worth that. That amount of time is not worth it. The most concise, quickest way to do it with a woman like who's like strong and all that shit, smack her, have a man smack her dead in her fucking face. Like, don't beat her up, but just smack the fuck out of her. Like, you know what I mean? Like how guys in the hood be doing to bitches in the hood. Smack the fuck out that bitch, right? You don't kill her. Don't jump on her. You ain't got to jump on her, nothing like that. Yell at her, scream, none of that. Just slap the bitch as hard as you can and then just stare at her to let her know, like, I could fuck you up for real, but this is just to send a message type of thing, right? Something like that. I think that will fix her. It'd be a good. I think that's my opinion. I think that'd be a good start. I don't know if my chat froze again. I see Tachyon left a longer message, and then like out here it's like completely. Uh-oh. Did I freeze it? Why is it not moving? I don't know if I'm still online. Am I still live? Because I can't move my... Oh, here it is. It's moving now. But now I don't want her to get smacked. Like I don't wish pain on anybody. But my thing... No, okay, no, No, I don't think I've ever smacked... No, I've never smacked a woman. I kicked a girlfriend over a bed. I would always kind of, okay, so here's the thing. When I was younger, I used to, me and my girl, we had a situation like this. At some point, like, your woman is going to try you, right? Like, she's going to physically try you. So I remember the first I'll tell a story with the black girl I dated. We lived together. She was a good-looking black girl, too. And, but she was dirty as fuck when she moved in. And I remember she, like, some kind of way we were playing, and, like, I wasn't even swinging back, and she kind of, like, kept punching me. Kind of thing, like how women be punched when they get mad, like it's like this like poor like baseball pitch kind of a punch, like it's never like like some shit like that. So, and I remember just looking at her, I was like this, and she was just going like this at me, right? And I was like, I was backing up, and I fell on the side of the bed, and then I was gonna let her go as long as she stopped, but she got on top of me and it started going like this, right, like punching at me again. And just instinctually, dude, I raised one foot up and kicked the bitch. And it was like that Rick James shit, how he went, ah! But it was like if Rick James went like over the bed, like to the other side, you just heard, because it was like a wall next to like the floor over there. I kicked her over the whole bed. And it was like, you remember how when Charlie Murphy kicked Rick James to that wall? And he was like, ah! It was like that. But like I said, she went like, from my point of view, it was like, if you was laying down, imagine Charlie Murphy, Rick James falling like that. But it was like, she just went all the way over the bed. Right? And then she got up going like, okay, I'm done. Like she went, and then that's when she stopped. Now, when my current girlfriend tried it, and she's never tried it again, she got on top of me and she kept trying to tickle me. And we still talk about this to this day. She got on top of me and she tried to tickle me, right? And I just wasn't in the mood to be tickled, right? And she kept doing, I said, stop, I'm serious, you gotta stop, right? And she was on top of me and she kept trying to tickle me, right? And one thing I don't like it's for anyone, I don't like anybody touching my back, ever. I've never gotten massages. I can't stand when anybody touches. That's why I really don't like to hug people. I don't like being touched on my back. I will immediately jump up and jump out, right? whatever it is. If somebody touches my back, like I hate it. And she kind of tickled me and like went like under to my back, and like just instinctually she was like getting closer, and instinctually I just like hit her head like with the palm of my head, and her head just like went back like, and then she just went, like it was the end of the world, as if I like punched her in her teeth kind of thing. Like, and she's never tried it ever since. If I tell her stop, she stops immediately kind of thing. It wasn't even anything hard or anything. I just instinctually just went like bop, because I knew not to make a fist kind of like on an instinct kind of thing. So I hit her like with this part and just went, and she went, oh, I can't move. and she's never done it ever since. Never. She hasn't. We haven't had a physical. If I say stop now, she stops immediately. YouTube chat. Oh, the scroll is locked on the screen. Okay. Let me try doing this. Sometimes I'm going to get off here anyway, but oh, now I see. Oh yeah, and it's depressing sight to see her have this whole elaborate dining set with no family to fill it. Yeah, all these chairs. Yeah, and she bought it just to go look at it. It's sad, man. It really is. It's fucked up. I'm trying to think of another time. Now the black girl. Now she had a sister who could have beat me up. Like if we got in a fight, like she was pretty. The weird part was the black girl I was living with. Now she had a sister. And I was actually crazy about her. Now, the black girl I lived with, she was a beautiful girl until I seen her sister. She had like 3 sisters. She had another sister who I've always thought was really good looking. And I always thought she hated me because whenever she would come over, she would never look at me. She would just like go like grab something and walk out. And so I always thought she hated me. And I remember she goes, "Oh no, she actually loves you. Like she loves you." And I never spoke to her till after after she died. And yeah, she loves me. Yeah, like I had no idea at the time, But because I've seen on the internet where their dad died, and then my girlfriend, her little sister died. So I wrote her to say, hey, like I'm sorry, I just heard about your dad, blah blah. It wrote me right back, blah, 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 blah. She was definitely like interested in my life and all types of shit. But but she was hood though. She was a hood girl, and that girl would have beat me up. I would. That was a hood girl. You didn't like I know my limits with that shit because the reason. Okay, one reason why I know. Well, you could look at her and tell she wasn't like, dainty, right? She was one of them hood bitches. Like she fuck around and get mad like. If we got into 10 fights out of 10, and if I were to hesitate, she would beat my ass, right? Like if I were to fuck around and hesitate, I couldn't beat her up. Like if I were to be like, oh, this is a woman type of shit, like, oh, let her just get away with this punch kind of shit. Oh no, she would take the opportunity and wouldn't let off. She's that type of a woman, but she was pretty though. I always liked her. Yeah. I want to say her name, but her name's kind of specific. I need to write. I never wrote her ever since that time, too. I really should write her again. I don't like when people touch my spine. Yeah. Yeah. I hate this shit. I can't stand when people. I can't stand in my back being touched. I just don't like that shit at all. And my ex-wife used to do this thing where like we would be sleeping in the bed and she would always like some kind of way like her arm would always be like underneath me, and then while she'd be sleeping, I guess it was like instinct, like she would just like, instinctually kind of move her hand. It would always freak me out like in the middle of the night because her hand would always be like under me when we would sleep. And I used to hate that shit. I still think about that and hate it. It just feels awful. I hate that shit, man. This is like, and I remember one time I got up and looked at her hand, and her hand was just moving, and she was asleep. Like she was asleep, and her hand was just going like this. It's fucking. I hate that. I still think about that. I hate that. Does your back? Oh, it always hurts, Charlie Guns. It's always fucked up. Black women's love language is disrespect. Not even a chiropractor. Nah, I seen a chiropractor. Man, Anthony, what's up? Yeah, what's up, Anthony? When I've been to a chiropractor a few times. Anytime, even if I have to get X-rays or anything where I have to like sit still, and they have to touch my back in any kind of way, I just like I have to move. Like I'm just too sensitive. I've never liked it. Even when I had hair, I used to get haircuts, and then you know how they trim you up in the back. My dad will tell you stories about it, man. Like I just can't sit still with it. I can't. I have never been comfortable with anything like it has to do with my back. When I was a kid, I used to get haircuts, and that was always the worst part because you know how they got to shape you up, and you shape up the front, but when you shape up, get to the back, I would always jump and because I just can't. I've never liked it, never. My dad, I'm sure my dad remembers that. The barbers would always have issues with it and complain about it, and my dad would try to like force me through to make it work. I never went to the barber shop one time as a kid and completely got through the whole part without going through that whole ordeal of the barber getting mad because I can't sit still, and then my dad trying to like tell me like sit still and blah blah blah, and then they sitting there trying to play with it. I remember holding the fucking to see if I'm getting ready to move, and now my anxiety's building up. Then I just move anyway because I feel like because I don't know when you get ready to touch the back of it. Like there's just some parts about growing up, like parents are just gonna get completely fucking wrong. Like no, and because there's no way he could have known. But like, yeah, to this day, I still can't have people touch my back at all, anywhere near that has anything to do with my back, up to like my lower neck. My girl, now she can give me a massage on my shoulders, which is rare. Usually people can't do that either. I've never been able to let anybody do that, and she can do that. But outside of that, no. Any type of grabbing, even now, she tries to like hug me and like grab my back, or like if there's any feeling that I feel like an independent touch, like a finger touch, or like that's digging in just with the slightest bit of pressure outside of like the whole object, immediately flip out. Even now, I like jump, and she goes, "Oh, sorry," kind of thing, and goes back to like normally holding. You're giving her too much credit, AD. All it takes is a hard punch from a man for her to fall like a child. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. It's 9:45, 9:43. AD, you ever thought about going through a surgery? Oh, Ivy bought all it. It always comes up whenever I go to the doctor. I'm gonna leave off with this. So my ex-wife, she would always want me to go do whatever the doctor said, and I would always tell her like, here's the thing, like, it's the spine, like it's the frame that's fucked up. Like on a car, the frame is what's fucked up, right? So like when the frame gets fucked up on a car, there's just not much you can really do. You can try to weld it back, but it's never gonna be right? So here's the thing, like with the if I were to get because I had to tell my girl about this, and now she's actually witnessed it, so now she believes me. But if people don't see it, they don't believe me. So like with my ex-wife, she was even getting mad at me because because she thought I wouldn't do what the doctors wanted, right? But she never sat in. But my ex-wife never actually sat in the doctor's office with me while we would talk about it or seeing what the actions were. But my spouse now, she's actually seen it, right? What's gonna happen is if I go to the doctor, the last time I went to a doctor here in Prague, he looked at my MRIs and X-rays and said, "I don't even know how you're still walking. We gotta do surgery on you like immediately," right? And he was moving fast, and he was like into it, right? Now I already know they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do surgery on for as bad as my back is. They're not gonna do surgery on my back because there's a chance if they fuck up and cause me more back pain, they're gonna be in trouble for that, right? And on top of that, due to laws on bodily injuries, there's no way to tell if I'll be lying about having back pain or not, right? With many other injuries, you can just get an X-ray, get an MRI, and tell if a person's lying about pain. But the thing is, like neck pain, lower back pain, And generally, back pain in general, you can't tell if the person's lying. So here's a tidbit that I actually learned from a lawyer, because he it was a lawyer who was fucking my ex girl. Okay, technically she was my ex girlfriend. She was my girlfriend. It was a long story. The stripper. He was like a friend / fuck buddy of the stripper that I had, and he told me this. He was a lawyer. He had his own office in Cincinnati, and he said, yeah. Legally, there's no way to tell if you're lying. If you get in a car accident, always say you have neck pain and back pain. Always say it, because there's no way they could tell if you're lying. There's no legal way they could say you are lying, right? So if you ever, here's a tip that I learned from a lawyer, from a successful lawyer. He said, if you get in a car accident, if you get in any kind of accident where somebody else can be at fault and get money out of them, always go to the hospital and say you were in an accident and I have neck pain and back pain. Always say it. Oh, because there's no way any hospital, any doctor can look at your information and say you're lying about this pain. They can't do it. You got to go to that hospital and rack up them doctor bills, right? Right. That's what you do. And then when you rack up the doctor bills, send it to their insurance company. Have an attorney send it to their insurance company, and you're going to get at least a few thousand out of that shit every time. But you have to go to the hospital in that time period and go there and say that, because it's illegal. It's not legal. They cannot legally say that you're lying about neck pain or back pain. They just can't. They can't. But no, back to your question, Ivy Bolt. Yeah, so the reason why surgery is not an optimal most doctors aren't going to do it is because if they fuck up, they're going to be in trouble for it, it's a good chance they will, because my back looks my spinal cord looks gross. Like, you couldn't tell by seeing me walk or see me even without a shirt on if you're not looking. But it's like especially the bottom parts, like it's just all jumbled up. But yeah. Maybe laws have changed with that. I don't know. But when I was in Ohio and that happened, that's what he told me. And he got me money, and I got paid for that. I did what he said and went and got paid for it. And I knew it ever since then. So now I know, like, if I get in an accident, go to the hospital, say my neck and back hurts. But my back is fucked up. So, there's that. Because, like, for example, when I worked at this job in Prague, now I did this out of spite. But I do have back pain, though. I remember the boss came in one day and said, he said something like, I'm going to need you to put your name tag on in the front, and I don't want to have to ask you again. But he said, like, in this, like, sarcastic, like, asshole-ish voice. He said those exact words. So I knew immediately, I got back pain from these chairs. I'm going to go to the doctor. And I ended up getting disability for like a year off this shit. I mean, I was getting about $1,000 a month every month until my contract ran out, and they didn't renew my contract. Never went to work. Here's the funny part, is because I would walk in the office and everybody be looking at me, right? And I'm like walking, and I look fine, right? And all I gotta say is, well, like, look at my X-rays. There you go. Like, you can't fight the X-ray. I didn't make that shit up. You look at my, you can look at my MRIs and X-rays. I can do a fucking cartwheel right now. That MRI is gonna tell you a different story. So, what you gonna do about it? And I remember I was waking up to I was getting, I think at the time I was getting was making about 40,000 Czech crowns. I was getting about $1,200 a month. Oh yeah, because he pissed me off. That dude. He pissed me off. He was one of them. He thought he had some control over somebody, and he pissed me off. And I just wasn't in the mood for that shit that day. But I had back pain from the chairs. It was from the chairs because they had poor quality chairs that didn't recline well, and they hurt my spine. You have a morning workout routine. I should work out. It does help. Working out does help a lot. But I'm just getting older, man. Like, work out for 2 days straight, then don't work out again. Work out for the week straight, then stop working out. when I was younger, I used to work out every day. Now I think I'm just getting older and just getting lazier, to be honest. Either one or two or both, however you want to look at it. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I'm gonna put this on Subscribe Star and put a clip because I think the 3 hour long videos are just kind of too long to put on like regular YouTube. So that's why I'm gonna start putting the live streams back on Subscribe Star and just put like videos up on YouTube. So I think the 3 hour. I think it's just I was thinking about it lately. I think like just if you were to click on a YouTube video and see like 3 hours, I think like that's like intimidating as fuck to like you know, to dedicate yourself to a YouTube video, and I can understand why motherfuckers don't want to see that shit. So I'm gonna put the live streams on Subscribe Star and then just break it up into clips and put like a clip on like regular YouTube. But yeah, I'm gonna see y'all later, man. Thanks for everybody who liked, subscribed, donated. Peace out. Peace.